Testing, testing, one, two, three. Um, Let me know if you guys can hear me. I think I'm gonna put my earpiece in. Testing. Okay, yeah. Okay, I can hear myself. Thank you, Ria. Thank you, Ashley. So I sent the judge the link. It takes him a minute to log on because of his Wi-Fi. And okay. Can you guys still hear me? I just put my earpiece in my phone. Um, so yeah, he will be coming up shortly. And it, like I said, it takes him a minute. And then we'll start the show. However, it's like 5 o'clock. I'm not going like last week. I think it was like 5 hours or 6 hours or something that's like that. That's not happening today. So I want to be done by 8. That's a good enough time. And so yeah, it should be a very interesting space. The title, "The New Niggers Have Arrived." The judge hates that word, nigga. Uh and who I'm talking about? I'm talking about the illegals. They are the new niggas. Nigga mean ignorant, and they're acting a fool. So yeah, and then I want to talk about. So as far as the illegals, what they doing in New York? New York is officially a shithole. 50 Cent, and you have these silly ass politicians who is, excuse me, fiending for clout from celebrities, because I don't understand why the mayor Eric Adams care what 50 Cent says. 50 Cent is a resident of Texas. 50 Cent business is in Texas because they have no state income tax. 50 Cent is not paying taxes no more in New York State. And if it is, it's under his business, not him personally. He's not stupid. He is a brilliant businessman, and he trolled the mayor of New York for his own personal gain. That's free publicity to go viral, to be on every social media outlet. And the mayor fell for it. Well, I don't think he fell for it. He knew he's trying to save face. He knew what he was doing. And that's the problem I have. Like, they really want these celebrities to co-sign. And this is what I'm saying. Celebrities have no place in politics. We don't want you to comment. We don't care your thoughts. Just shut up and pick up a mic. And that's it. Shut up and act. Shut up and dribble. You have no place in politics. So yeah, so we're gonna talk about that. Happy birthday, Bob Marley. Today is his birthday. A documentary is coming out, I believe is this month, on part of his life. And it looks really good. I think they, the guy who plays him, he did a good job from what I saw, but yeah. And what else I put in there? Oh, the border. And we gotta talk about this border bill that was passed, because everyone's saying it's some bullshit. It sounds like some bullshit. I don't think that's a border bill. It's really a funding Ukraine war bill. And they sprinkled something about the border, and it makes no sense. Hi to everybody on YouTube. I don't want to call him because I may not come off, but I'm going to call him anyway, because he waited to the last minute to say, oh, let me grab something to eat. And it's like you had all day, all morning, all afternoon to get something to eat. So, and then his Wi-Fi is already slow. I'm just calling to check to see if he's coming. Did you get the link, right?
Yeah, do me a favor. I'm gonna hang up. Call me again twice. I'm trying to find my iPad.
All right. Now he's looking for his iPad. What were you doing all damn day? He, hopefully he found. I got a headache. I had to take some Advil. Anybody want to request to come up right now to talk about the topics? You can until the judge comes up. You can request. Because like hello, so it's 3 hours from the time the judge come up on the Twitter space, not from 5 o'clock, because he's trying to find his iPad right now, and I gotta call him so he can hear it ring, so he can find out where it's at. And then once he finds his iPad, he has to log on, and his Wi-Fi is slow as hell. Okay, cool, Ashley. I just got your message. So he has to find the iPad, and that's probably going to be 5 minutes. And then he has to log on, guys, and that's going to be another 5, probably like another 10 minutes. So if y'all want to come up, say something, talk about the illegals. Yeah. Yes, Francis. Yes, we are cool. Why I don't have an issue with nobody. So hopefully he found his iPad, honey.
Okay, I found it.
Okay, so now you log it on. You got the link, right?
Yeah, I got the link. Let me log on.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. He found the iPad, y'all. And he's about to log on. Oh, thank you, Ashley. What is this? A bill to protect individuals who face reprisals for defending human rights and democracy, enhance capacity to prevent migration. A bill to amend the Immigration and Nationality Act to require president to set minimum annual goals of refugees. I thought we already have that. We already have a law that has a minimum annual goal of refugees, 145,000. Why this report? Yeah, Ashley, honey, you're going to have to come up. That's a lot of reading. I'm pretty sure you already read it and you can summarize. Valet, we're on Twitter, so you'll have to come on Twitter into my Twitter space and request to come up. That's how we do it. I'm just streaming it on YouTube. Who is this? Oh, somebody requested. Hurry up. Can you hear me? Hurry up. I can't hear you. Hello? I can't hear you. Something wrong with your audio. Drop down and come back up. I need to test somebody else because I want to make sure that it's not me. Can somebody else request to come up so I can make sure that it's not me? Can you guys still hear me? Okay, I can hear you. Hi, Ricky. Thank you.
What's up, Dana? What's up, everybody?
Okay, so yeah, everybody can hear you. They can hear me. All right, so Rhea, that was your audio. Thank you, Jared, on YouTube. All right. So, like I said, we're waiting for the judge. He just found his iPad. Now he has to log on, and the Wi-Fi in his area is snail Wi-Fi. It's as if Wi-Fi doesn't exist where he live at. All that money, he do not live in the hood. He do not live in no downtown area, honey. Gated. Ever since they burned down that 5G tower, his Wi-Fi goes to shit. It's funny how low income areas be having some strong Wi-Fi. And everybody else struggling with their Wi-Fi. And then too, I think, what do you call that? The people who we don't see or hear, I think they're bugged his Wi-Fi as well. The judge is somewhat of a target. Hi, Goddess on YouTube, Goddess 101. So we gotta talk about the new niggas have arrived, honey. And I'm calling all these illegal savages niggas because they robbing, they taking advantage of the system, they giving us the middle finger, they're getting free food stamps, $1,000 every month, and people in New York City evictions went up over 50%. People, American citizens, New Yorkers are getting evicted at a higher rate because they can't afford the rent. The programs that they have in place to like subsidize the rent, and you pay a portion and then the city pays the rest. The city is not paying their portion of the rent, so the owners have no choice but to evict them. But you got time and you have money to give these illegal savages millions and billions of dollars, food stamps, work permits, mopeds, free cell phone, paying rent free for 6 months, work, education, school, all that. They're getting everything, have everything. And then they have the audacity to go be out here robbing people. But they want to paint black people as savages. No. We have new niggers now. And when the judge come up, he does not like the word nigger or niggas. Nigga, he don't like nothing in, maybe Negro. And he says that, to be condescending. I'm saying it because that's how I see them. You the new niggas. You coming up here tearing up shit and we got to foot the bill. You got a stupid ass mayor clout chasing for celebrity attention. He's up in South America. He did a press conference yesterday with the police. Oh, now you thinking about deport. And there ain't no thinking. Either you want to deport him or you not. And now he clout chasing to get a photo out with 50 Cent. 50 Cent's not even a resident of New York State anymore. 50 Cent using this opportunity to promote power. And I love power too. Hi, Judge. Oh, let me add you as co-host. Sorry. Invite co-host. I just sent you a invite for co-host. Did you get it? Can you hear me?
All right. Item received. Thank you.
You're welcome. How are you?
I'll manage today.
All right. So you hate that name that's in the title, and that's fine. I get it. I just put it out there for effect because I could have said the new Negroes have arrived, but the reason why I use that colorful word is because that word means ignorant. And they are ignorant, these illegal migrants, because New York City is officially a shithole. New York City and all the other boroughs as well, all the 5 boroughs is a shithole. This mayor, that administration, and that governor are giving these illegals $1,000 for food stamps, credit cards. Prepaid credit cards for $1,000, supposed to be for food. They had to sign an affidavit stating that they promised to use it for food. Well, if they renege, you can't sue them because they're not citizens. They're also
You can sue it. You can sue a non-citizen. The problem is you got to find them and serve them under American law,
yeah,
so they don't have any addresses, so they're effectively immune from service.
right.
And if you get a judgment against them, they're judgment proof. So all you do is waste money on lawyer fees, court costs, and expenses.
Right.
So I guess you could probably get away with it by saying, okay, we don't have a good address, so we get service by publication. So you'd have to find a Spanish language and an English language newspaper that does the official notification, serve them that way. But what you just did is wasted a lot of money in filing fees. Let's see. New York, probably a couple of $100 per person. So let's see, times how many tens of thousands of people? That's not.
All right, let
Yeah,
me set the stage for what we're going to be talking about. 50
absolutely ridiculous mess.
50 Cent blasts Mayor Adams' plan to give prepaid credit cards to migrants. And he tweets out, maybe Trump is the answer, right? And he says, what the F, WTF, Mayor Adams, call my phone. I don't understand how this works. Somebody explain. Can't explain this. I'm stuck. Maybe Trump is the answer. That's what he tweeted. A family of 4 could receive nearly $1,000 a month. The program will begin with 500 migrant families in short-term hotel stays. And so the mayor responded to 50 Cent during a press conference. It says 50 Cent speaks with NYC Mayor Eric Adams about giving migrants free prepaid credit cards. The rapper, can you mute up for a second, Judge?
What's that?
Can you mute?
Well, hold on. I got to walk over to the device to mute. I've got on earphones. Hold on.
50 Cent.
I promised to be quiet. I was trying
No,
to.
it's not you saying something. It's the noise. 50 Cent in New York City.
Yeah, well, I'll stop the noise. Go ahead.
Well, because you're stirring grits. 50 Cent in
I'm
New
not
York.
stirring grits.
It's a joke.
I know, but I'm sitting in my damn seat. I wish I was. I'm hungry.
50 Cent and New York City Mayor Eric Adams have found common ground regarding New York City's looming $53 million pilot program for New York City migrants. The rapper took to social media on Monday to reveal he has spoken with Adams regarding the immediate response card initiative, under which migrant families in the city will receive free prepaid monthly credit cards, right? So this is on a monthly basis. I talked to New York City Mayor. He broke down why this pilot program was put in place. He appeared to be on point and on top of things. Now I want to talk to Governor Kathy Hochul about the laws preventing him from doing things to make the situation better in New York, and where the proposed $2.4 billion she's planning on spending on migrants is coming from. Not my taxes. Before you jump in, Judge, let me just lay this out. First of all, and I'm going to say this word nigga, and this is for 50 Cent. Who in the F do you think you are? Why is this stupid ass mayor consulting with a rapper who does not live in New York City? He doesn't pay New York City taxes. And if he does, like I said, it is under his business name where he's getting a tax credit, because if you have a media production company or studios, you get a lot of grants and you get state and federal, well, you get state tax cuts. But why is it that he is not a politician? And he's using this to promote himself personally, which is selfish. And if you have such a large voice and following, which he does, 50 Cent, why the fuck are you not talking to Governor Kathy Hochul about reparations when this bitch just passed $180 million reparations cash to not only the Holocaust survivors, but their descendants? Why are you not speaking to the governor about that? Because 50 Cent is FBA, ADOS, Freedman, all that. But you want to talk about, yes, it's important, $2.4 billion, but are you going to mention reparations? If not, shut the fuck up. Who are you? And then why don't you have some grassroots organization come with you when you want a conference call with the governor and the mayor, or when you go to their office? Because you were just looking for self. Why? Because if 50 Cent says vote for Trump in New York, then New York City probably would turn red, or local seats will probably flip to red. So he knows he could go and meet with the mayor and meet with the governor and strike a deal to get more grant money for his production company and another tax cut for his production company. But this man is a resident of the state of Texas, where there's no state income tax. So he is a selfish individual. He is only thinking about himself, and he's using his celebrity to advance his cause. Brilliant business move, but a piece of shit on the other hand. Go ahead, Judge.
If I might be permitted to chime in on this, if people realize what's actually being done and what's actually being said about them, they'd be very pissed off. Somebody is effectively, let me translate, calling you a bunch of goddamn stupid, ignorant ass fools who ain't shit. What they're pulling off is they've got you. We're even today worried about who in the hell is 50 Cent when it comes. Does he have a political science degree? Has he got a long career in government where he has studied the ins and outs? Has he got a career in education in law, sociology, psychology, any of that? No. His business here for his entire adult life in the scheme of things, if you understand government, political science, and sociology, is to distract people. Caesar said 2064 years ago, 68 years ago, when Mark Antony asked him about his appointment as a dictator for life, how the Roman mob, meaning the Roman common people, would take it. He said, give them bread and circuses, donne pane e secelsie, meaning feed them and entertain them and they won't give a damn. And we get fed as fat as we are and as many problems as we have overeating and idolizing Lizzo the hippo and such like. And we've got distractions we carry around even on these devices we are listening in on right now. So, what the hell is the problem here? And what he's saying is ridiculous. Now, first off, you just touched on it, reparations. I mentioned over 4 times last time we were on, 6 or 7 the time before that, at least 3 the time before that on Twitter Space, that the only way Black people will ever get reparations is political. There is no conceivable way under American law that there is an opening to sue anybody. So it will have to be an Enablement and Appropriations Act, most likely by Congress, because the state certainly couldn't afford to do it statewide. And we have a Black caucus who has an identifiable number of people, certainly sufficient to do something about it, including the enormous number of white legislators who are members of the Black caucus. Just look them up online. You can see the photos. And they even have a reparations committee. I find it interesting that the chairman of the Black Caucus's Reparations Committee is the representative for the 9th District here in Memphis, a district with probably the highest percentage of Black people in it in the whole of the United States of America. His name is Steve Cohen. He's gay, he's white, and he's Jewish. And for 19 years, he's been in the U.S. Congress. His primary piece of legislation is a binding resolution on the congressional cafeteria, mandating that they serve only paper straws for ecology purposes. Now, that's what you've got in charge with whether or not you get a reparations. But the same group that will not even do anything except snicker behind their hands, or when you're not looking, at what a damn fool you are for wasting your time on it, because they aren't going to give it to you, or right in line, first in line, mayors of all of these cities that are sanctuary cities. And they're giving the crap away that they aren't even going to let your dumbasses sniff. And we are about to vote them back into office again, acting like a goddamn fool, not just a damn fool. And that is absolutely absurd. In other words, that N word, I hate this, I use it in the most derogatory, insulting fashion if I use it. And I will say, voting for the Democratic Party makes you one of those N words right now if you have opened your mouth and uttered a damn peep about you want reparations, uttered a damn peep about you want an even job playing field, uttered a damn peep if you want about your kids getting educated. I could go on with this list a long time, but it is absolutely absurd to look at that debacle, that clown show, that minstrel show that's going on in New York City right now, Georgia, California, Chicago, Philadelphia, Baltimore, you name it. And we want to complain and bitch and whine and wait on somebody giving us something instead of goddammit it taking it. And the first damn thing you can do if you want to take it is hold your damn votes from somebody that's trying to screw you. Now, that is my opening statement for today. I hope everybody's been having a nice day. The weather is improving.
Yes, it is improving.
Yes. And
Oh,
by
and it's
the
going to
way,
be a hot summer.
if I might make a recommendation, they talked all that bullshit about the musical version of that bullshit Color Purple and all that garbage. If you want to see a movie and there's even a leading black character in it, see Statham in Beekeeper and enjoy yourself.
All right. So, and do you want to say happy birthday, Bob Marley?
Happy birthday, Bob Marley. I know some of his family members personally, and I got a tour in Kingston by the Prime Minister and some of his representatives, and also the Governor General himself, of some things of interest relative to Bob Marley and the high esteem that they hold him in. They've got an exhibit in the National Museum about him. So, great man, and too bad about, I mean, who would imagine somebody dying of foot cancer where you broke
No, what
some
happened?
bones in your foot? No, this is what the story was they gave me. And I talked to the family members. Their story is he was playing soccer. Everybody in Jamaica is a soccer freak. When they get a break, they don't go get coffee. They go outside, and 10, 12 people get in a circle and they use a hacky sack and they practice. He broke his toe playing soccer, the story they gave me. And he didn't really let it heal because he kept performing. And it got infected, but he didn't really deal with that. And it wound up getting cancerous and it spread and metastasized. And that's what the official version inside of Jamaica is about, is what he died of. So, I mean, I've heard other stories, but I think that one is more in keeping with what I heard about him, with him being a guy that says, I'm not going to let anything hold me back. So,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, love his music. Will live on forever.
May I just make one comment? I do not understand what he did with this record. I did not shoot the sheriff. I shot the deputy.
You don't know the meaning behind
And
that? I think that has to.
I don't, because you know why? When I was a kid in elementary school, I went to see a movie where that was the whole theme of the B Western. There was nothing but white people on it. And it was, I shot the sheriff, but I did not shoot the deputy. That was the song they had in that. And Marley took off on that song. That's one of the few that he did as a remix. And I just don't get what his interest was in that. And I asked around when I was in Jamaica, and nobody could tell me either.
All right.
But I'm confused on that. But I
Well,
admire what he's done, and I love Ray.
Let me say this. I want to get to the speaker. Two things real quick. If anybody knows the story behind the song "I Shot the Sheriff," please let us know and enlighten us. I vaguely know, so I don't want to say it because I may be wrong. Also, Ashley, I don't know how much time you have. If you do have time, I could put you on a list so I can have you speak now, because you did send me some stuff about the border bill. So I kind of want to let Ashley speak now.
Oh, I got time. I can wait because I know that those hands were probably for something that you or the judge was saying, but
Okay.
I got some time, so I'll come back to you.
Hi.
Thank you, though.
Okay, so just
Ma'am.
Hi,
Hello,
Judge.
how are you? I didn't realize you were on, but I guess I was giving you an intro.
Yes, sir. Blessed and breathing. I'm looking forward to conversating with you.
I sort of warmed up the audience, the crowd, so they're waiting, like Maceo used to do for James Brown. All right.
So what I'll do is, and if you do, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people ahead of you, Ashley. So if you gotta go, just let me know and I'll bring you in to speak. So I want to go to Ricky, Wim, Kanye, Real Queen, Drew, Art, then Ashley. Ricky, I know you came up to do a test. I don't know if you wanted to comment.
Just something quickly. Peace, Judge. What's up, everybody?
All right.
So, in New York, what we're dealing with, right? We have a bunch of little criminal rings, and it seems, from what I've my little investigation of it, they're not even migrants. They're habitually coming back and forth. All these people have been deported, and they're running criminal rings. And these crimes that they're committing is getting blamed on Black people. That's one problem. And then this 1K per family, they're going to split up and say they're not together. And they're going to work that as good as they can. And I'll land with that.
Thank you, Ricky. William, is he still here? Yes.
Yes. Yeah, this is William. How you doing, Miss Dana?
Hi.
How you doing, Dr. Judge? Hey, I see what you're saying now. The new niggas have arrived. And let me tell you something. The new niggas have arrived by way of Laredo, Texas at the border. I'm an independent contractor trucker. And man, I had an incident there in November where I picked up a load from a forwarding company there in Laredo, Texas. And as I went in to sign my bills and my paperwork, there were two girls that climbed on top of the sleeper part of my truck where there's a cubby hole at. Okay, once you leave Laredo, Texas, going up I-35, you got about 17 miles before you get to the first checkpoint. Man, got to the checkpoint, and I thought everything was all clear when I come through there. And Border Patrol officers had me to pull over to the side, and they noticed it on their radar system when I came through. And so they asked me to pull over, tapped on the side of the truck and told the girls to come down, told them, come on down. And man, I don't know what they got going with that Laredo border down there, but it is horrible, and me as a driver coming through there, the only thing that saves me was that they was not inside the cab of the truck with me. So therefore, and they say it happens all the time. So this administration we got in that office now, they literally got the gate open. And when you coming up from Laredo, once you get past that checkpoint, you about 147 miles from San Antonio, you considered in the United States then. And I land my plane there, man. It's time to fix that fence down there also, cause it's a mess.
Well, it's being that you in Texas. How was it under the Trump administration? Was it more control the border?
I would say so. I'm based out of Memphis, but I contract loads and I run through Brownsville, Texas, Laredo, Texas, El Paso, McAllen, Texas. And the freight pays good out of there because you got the forwarding companies that handles the freight once they come across the border. But I could see a difference in the Trump administration versus now. Um, Man, Laredo is kind of like when you cut the lights off at night, the roaches are running. And that's what's going on now. And I know for a fact in Laredo, well, I know it's in El Paso also.
Okay. All right.
Hey, homeboy, how you doing? You're from Memphis, aren't you?
Yes, sir, Dr. Judge. I'm out of Memphis.
All right. Good to hear from you. By the way, based on what you're saying and what you mentioned, Dana, and what they're doing, previous caller mentioned, this money they're putting into the system, and you mentioned it, sir, uh, they're splitting up so they can get double the money. Well, that's kind of the same bag that they don't seem to understand that they're putting themselves in, that Lori Lightfoot did up in Chicago. She put all that money out into the neighborhood, but she put it in the wrong hands. The gangsters got it. They financed
Wow.
that break-in of those box cars full of guns in the IC rail yard, and they got them into distribution. They made a lot of money, and they put a lot of dangerous stuff in the hands of the wrong kind of people, not good citizens. And that's exactly what
Wow.
these idiots are doing right now. And do you know that our stupid ass new mayor and our chief of police and our damn sheriff, all of them black, are talking about making Memphis a goddamn sanctuary city? And let me tell you another thing too. I hope you start demanding and getting the truckers on board with demanding some of this action that they're talking about up in Blue Oval, which is up there where Mason is.
Yes, sir.
Do you know where they get that name Blue Oval from? It's not the background for the Ford emblem. It is a South Korean electronics company that is going to be intimately and intricately involved in making electric cars. And they are trying to fill 25,000 some odd places for employees that they want to fill in South Korea to bring them over here. They aren't hiring locally.
I've been there.
And see, we're getting robbed by these damn ends that we've got supposedly representing us because they got a new goddamn cause. And that's the problem.
Yep.
See,
Okay.
you give Negroes, and I'll use that term instead of the N word, an opportunity to opt out of being Negroes and give them something else to become part of a new ethnic group. And if you want to see what it is, look up the Black Caucus, look at their pictures, and then look at the Freedom Caucus / LGBTQIA caucus, congressional caucus, and you'll see damn near all of them are members of that one. And that's what they're really members of, not black folk anymore. These Negroes, these ends have become rainbows. That's their damn business, but they're bullshitting us to vote for them. And by the way, what the hell is going on with Steve Cohen, our Steve Cohen, being over the Black Caucus's Reparations Committee? And do you know this idiot Strickland is ramping up to run in the primary, and he wants to beat Lee Harris, who is our colored mayor for the county. And what's going on? He's already bought all 5 Negroes to run in the race with him, and he's trying to buy 2 more to split the black bloc vote for the Democratic Party primary for the 9th district. And he's relying upon a white enclave out by Millington so he can get in. And he's nothing but a damn poisonous crook. And even the white folk call him the Pillsbury Doughboy.
Well, this is the thing, and thank you, Wham. This is the thing that that type of practice is going on in Memphis, but it's going on in every other major Democrat highly black populated city across this nation, you know, that's what they do. And you know, so I'm glad you do, Judge, lay that out, because that same practice, you know, is being practiced everywhere else. All right, I want to go to Kanye. I see the people. If you're requesting, just sit tight. I want to get through these speakers first. So go ahead, Kanye. And who is it? YEPIT Yay Pits Me. I hope you're not a troll, just for, you know, whatever. But go ahead, Kanye.
Oh yes, thank you for having me, Dana. How you doing, Judge? I think
All right,
man,
sir.
Judge touched on something. Oh, yeah, the judge touched on so many things I agree with. It's like watching these circus. They do the same thing. I was watching in Chicago. People vote whether they're going to condemn Palestine or not, and all those damn fools set up in that assembly and cheered. And it's like, okay, condemnation from Palestine does what again? When they wanted to get together and vote to revoke the sanctuary city status from Chicago, those people got together and stopped them. If you ask me, I think that's the thing they should have been stopping, but they focus on the wrong thing. They take these symbolic wins that mean absolutely nothing and they trade it in for the effort they should have been putting into actual change, getting these people out of our communities. They don't need to be here. The border is it's, it's, it's such a joke. It doesn't make any sense. And to call these people asylum seekers is ridiculous. Let's not forget, to actually legally seek asylum, you have to go through a port of entry and request, and you have to do that at the nearest country. You got people from China, from all over the world, packing up at the border. There's little TikToks telling people how to get into the country. And instead, they want to waste their time talking about condemning Palestine as if people give a damn what people in Chicago got to say about the Middle East. Is insanity. So you look at the focus is in the wrong way. And as far as 50 Cent thing, listen, I think 50 Cent always talking about the 48 laws of power, right? Art of war, things of that nature. If you see a bad situation, you see an opportunity to boost yourself, he's going to do it. I just think the mayor of New York City is, in the Democratic Party as a whole, are in such a crunch for black entertainers. Nobody's supporting them anymore. I remember in 2016 and 2020, they had Jay-Z, they had Beyonce, they had all these people out coming to support them. That is slowed all the way down. Now the newer rappers, Lil Wayne, Kodak Black, and all those guys, they're supporting Trump. They're looking for any type of life support to the people who preach culture in our community. You see, they had a whole Kamala Harris sat down with Lil Baby, a rapper from Atlanta. Like, no disrespect to him, I know he meant well, but what the hell is he gonna talk about? Like, what are they really discussing? It's a photo op to try to give her some credibility within the community that she doesn't have. When a lady got on TV and specifically said she's not going to do anything specifically for black people, and then turn around and pass an anti-Asian hate bill. So I think this activism towards symbolic wins needs to stop. I think we have to actually start focusing on things to make change. One, we're revoking this dumbass sanctuary city stuff, especially in our cities. We have enough problems going on. People fought like hell to get those rec centers up and running. People preached and marched city council to have them allocate those funds so they wouldn't shut it down, all for them to get kicked out of that same building and support people who don't even vote, who have never paid a dime of taxes. They're going to cost the taxpayer dollars. So it's just backwards to me, but I appreciate y'all for having me. That's all I want to say. Thank you, guys.
And Kanye, I sent you a message. Thank you for coming on my Sunday panel. And did you get my last inbox message?
Yeah, I'm just trying to invest in people because I don't want to send you somebody and they turn out to be an idiot, and then it's like,
Oh, okay. Well, I do expect you back on the
uh,
panel on Sunday if you have time.
oh yes, for sure, for sure. I got somebody that he wants to come on though. He's a good guy. He's like 150,000 followers on here, so he should be cool.
Oh, cool. Okay, thank you. I want to go to Real Queen.
Thank you for coming on. I appreciated your remarks. Were on point and enlightening. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, you guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
We hear you.
Do you guys hear me?
We hear you.
Oh, can't hear you guys too good, but do you hear me?
Miss Rio Queen.
Okay, great. Oh yeah, the new niggas are here. Okay, and the old niggas got a problem because the new niggas are playing for keeps. Why are the new niggas here? Because the deep state wants it that way. They've realized they've lost the old nigga vote. Okay. And the deep state loves house niggas that are willing to do their dirty work in their bed. The problem with the old nigga, I gotta tell you, it's tenfold. The old nigga has become obsessed with virtue signals and nothing. For example, we got Killer Mike being perp walked out of the Grammys in handcuffs. Then you got Will Smith slapping, what was his name? Chris Rock. You have the Janet Jackson wardrobe malfunction, okay? None of this was by chance. I believe it was all deep fakes put on by the deep state, paying these people to do this stuff for what? Distractions. Well, what are black folks gonna get out of this stuff? A bunch of distractions and nothing burgers and shit. So the new niggas are here. They're not playing games. The other problem the old niggas have is the new niggas, okay, are willing to assimilate as productive, producing American citizens. Okay, and the problem with the old nigga is they're not willing to assimilate. All they're willing to do is continue playing games, virtue signaling, and doing nothing. But time is running out. Okay, the old nigga has already become a permanent underclass in this nation. They better step up their game or get left behind. And Judge, I want to ask you, what do you think about that Killer Mike situation where they allege he was arrested for a misdemeanor assault or something? What do you think about that?
Well, my analysis is this. What seems to have happened is that he shoved or laid hands on one of the female security. And in California, they do this. Basically, all of the states do it, but most people aren't aware of it. What happens is there was a citizen's arrest, and ordinarily, unless police witness the commission of a misdemeanor, in other words, it happens in their presence, they can't arrest for it unless they have a sworn warrant issued by a magistrate judge or something like that. But if a citizen makes an arrest, a citizen's arrest, they may take the person that the citizen has arrested into custody. So that's apparently what they did. Now, I've seen all kinds of foolishness about that. There was even one that somebody kept tagging me about that had to do with he got arrested for speaking negatively about Biden, which turned out to be nonsense because there was nothing in there about that. But it almost looks staged to me, like trying to get street credibility. I see too much of that mess these days where, and it's costing a lot in terms of the people buying into it and feeling that this kind of misconduct is appropriate. A lot of the rappers are either buying into the street gangs or the street life you can buy in, or some of them are committing some crimes or providing some finance or giving some leverage to get that. And they're getting in trouble, which is why a number of them get gunned down every so often, is because they got in over their heads and didn't know what they were up to. And I think that is extremely bad when you start trying to, as an exemplar, stand in somebody to look up for, you start trying to push criminality. And I think it's also a hideous thing practiced by the in crowd, the Negroes, where we are supposed to find that stealing from each other, assaulting each other, battering each other, raping each other, murdering each other is somehow okay because it's an ethnic thing. Black folk just do that. No, black folk don't. Goddamn fool Negroes do. And I use that in terms of the N word because I don't like it. I come from an era where that gets you killed real quickly, or somebody's indicating that they have enough animus against you to kill you. Now, people play with it now because they've got too damn soft and the streets aren't hard like they used to be. And I tell you that.
Yeah.
So
So people like Killer
we
Mike
need to
have credibility,
get our
okay,
shit together. Excuse me.
among
Go ahead.
young black
Sorry.
people. Yeah, Killer Mike has credibility among young black Americans, okay? And you would think, all right, the brightest minds,
No,
black
it's
folks,
not. That was a lie.
the brightest minds black people have to know better and do better, okay? But they don't. And we're getting
Killer
passed
Mike
up
does
by
not have
first
no influence on
generation
Black
niggas.
Americans. That's a
That
lie.
ain't cool. That ain't cool. We've been here long enough to know better and do better, but
hold
we
on.
won't.
Sister, hold on. Sister has the mic. Who's trying to talk over?
I don't know who it is, but that person, everybody up here, you know how this goes. Stay on your mic until it's your turn to speak. Stop
But that was a
interrupting
lie.
people.
Killer Mike is dead.
Back off. You get
I
your turn on your
can't. I'm
mic.
not doing
Wait your
that
turn
today.
and you can talk. We're not going there. I
Everybody
don't
is
play that kind of
grown.
mess.
Everybody is over the age of 18. Please act your age. That's what kids do. Anna. No, I'm not doing that. Thank you. Go ahead,
Now
Real
just wait
Queen.
in line. Go ahead. You have the mic, man.
Okay, I'm pretty much done, sir. Again, it's an honor to be among to you and Dana and speaking to the panel and addressing the issue. Salute, sir.
Thank you.
You know what? May I make a
Oh,
brief comment? It's in line with what's got said. I'm just waiting for somebody to make Lizzo, Cardi B, Foxy Red, Sexy Red, and such like political consultants. When is that going to happen? I'm just waiting on it because I know
Well,
it's
already
going to
happened with
happen.
Snoop Dogg and others. You know, they're putting him out there on Front Street as if Snoop Dogg is some kind of political genius or something. You know what I mean? They're already kind of doing that.
Well, let me say something about Snoop Dogg personal. I met his mother, and she and I were working on various projects more than 20 years ago. His mother died last year, and she was a very educated woman. She had a master's degree at the time, was working on a PhD. Very brilliant woman. And she was telling me stuff about Snoop Dogg that a lot of people don't know. He was a scholar all through school. And he got motivated to kind of do what he's doing now when in Long Beach, California, they had this bright idea that instead of having mass integration, what they would do is take a handful of young black folks in junior high school. A lot of people call that middle school now, 7 through 9. And in high school, and we did not have segregated districts, but because of residential patterns, we had segregated individual schools. So what went on was he got taken from where he was and put in being, I think she said, one of 3 black kids in an all white, mostly all white school. And Snoop is a very, very intelligent person. And he's one of those that I'll give a little slack to because outside of that cool game he plays all the time, he had a thing called Snoop at Home with Snoop back in the early 90s. Late, yeah, early 90s. And it was at home with him, his wife, his children, and his various in laws and brothers. And I would have to give it to him. I was a judge then, and I almost had to take notes. Some of the stuff he came up with was very profound. Now, I'm not going to say every celebrity is an idiot. Just most of them are and don't know a damn thing. But every now and then there's one that actually seems to have paid attention. Now, if he was doing what he was doing 30 years ago and what his mother was telling me he was about 20 some years ago, I'll give him a pass. But and I just, I'm negative against the concept, but I'll give him a
all
little
right.
boost because.
I really don't give a shit about Snoop Dogg. I want to move
But
on.
I'm just being candid,
No, I totally I get it.
even-handed. That's all
Okay.
I'm doing.
So I don't see
Child.
Drew. I guess he dropped down. I want to go to Art. Art, you put something in the Jumbotron, but don't put it. I don't want nothing in the Jumbotron. That's like a pet peeve of mine. I kind of just want Judge Joe Brown barbecue sauce there, but put it in the message in the comments because people actually can see it and click on it and read it when you put stuff in the comment section. But go ahead, Art.
Yeah, I remember when I dropped down. I just posted in the Jumbotron immigration over time. Um, the idea that they're going to fix something that over time neither party has fixed, I think is a bit of a fallacy, or we just don't care about data to a certain degree. As far as the new N word has arrived, I'm like, they've been here. It's called after the 13th Amendment, I believe it has an accept clause. So prisoners, try going on strike too long, they'll replace you with prison labor, right? And after they push it along a little bit longer, they'll replace you with robots, which is why they stall. Why wouldn't they stall? They stall. You can legally buy a politician because of speechnow.org and Citizens United. They can just use their money doing that to stall until they get their robots and their AI. Then the actors go on strike. So it's coming. So the idea that either party's going to stop it when they're being bought by the same people who is causing the problem in the first place, immigration makes money for rich people. You think that rich people are going to give up their money to fix immigration? Maybe, maybe. I'm not saying it's impossible. It's just not looking likely by the data over time. Again, we don't tend to look at data over time. We just have an emotional response. Guy, hopefully they'll fix it. And to a certain degree, I think that's the bread and circus, the blame game, right? If you spend all your time blaming the other guy, you don't spend your time looking at the charts over time, seeing that ain't nothing changing. So uh, they could have fixed poverty for like the last 5 decades. I think that I could post that too in the comments. They haven't done it because they don't want to do it because poverty pays, just not us, or just not the people that's in poverty, right? So um, I think that until we start looking at the data and doing something that actually has tangible results. So I voted for this person. 2 years later, this happened. Until we can get to that, regardless of what party they're in, we're going to continually have these problems. And I think these charts that show over time kind of prove that. I'll land it there.
May I make a suggestion? Go reanalyze what you said in terms of political science. Let me suggest that you pay attention to the following factors, assuming there's some validity to them. You might find there isn't. You might find there is. A, they don't want your free labor. They work you in a penitentiary because there's this old phrase, idle minds mischief make. In other words, if you're idle, you'll get into mischief, so they have you employed to keep you out of mischief. What the prison pipeline is all about is because the United States is the only industrialized country in the world that does not have a coherent government set of programs where they take the obsoleted worker and make him viable again in today's economy. You have a lot of people who are out of jobs or who are being paid less than they are accustomed to because they've been displaced by industrial technology and communalization. We haven't even got to the AI level on a widespread basis, and what they do have, even on the narrow basis, is still very primitive. So that is a problem. Labor is a commodity, and when you get a glut in a commodity, there's several things you do. Basically, three: cut back production, subsidize producers, store the surplus. The surplus is stored in the jail cell, not the grain silo. The subsidy is that welfare check, that public assistance everybody is wanting to be dependent upon. And the cutting back of production is to get us to buy into propaganda ideology and other things so we do not become effective labor units or intellectual units. Now, I'm going to hurt some people's feelings when I get into this. Some folks say, oh, the Biden administration got us relief from our student loans. Don't be a damn fool. You got a little relief, but they don't give a damn about your relief from student loans. Look what they did for the banks and lending institutions. They get the full maximum amount of interest that they would have gotten had your loan matured and you paid it off with all the time you were allotted to pay it off. They get all that interest all right up front, all at one time, plus the principal, without having to deal with collection efforts and the costs that go with that, without the attorney fees, and then all of the other expenses that go along, and you got it. And what was the cutoff? 125,000 per person or 250,000 per family. Now, here's the nasty little secret that a lot of folk don't want to deal with. According to our set of standards, 125,000 is the cutoff for being in the middle class. Above that, you are. Below that, you're not. And anywhere else in the world with a 4-year college degree, you'd pretty much be guaranteed that you're in the middle class. So if you were here, you'd be making more than 125,000 a year, and you wouldn't even qualify for any relief because you could pay it off. But we are so damn broke, busted, and happy because we got a worthless 4-year college degree that we got cheated on because they don't teach you thinking anymore. They try to indoctrinate you with bullshit now. And they want to make you feel good. And your feelings that nobody gives a flying fuck about are supposed to be paramount. So we buy into that. So we just got slapped in the face again. Oh, they paid off my loan. Yeah, you broke fuck. You asses went to 4 years of college and you ain't even staunchly in the middle class. And then all of the people that are school teachers and working for places like FedEx and all this other shit, and they're busting their ass and they are in a white collar job and they aren't even making middle of the road middle class money. And they don't even realize it. And they keep voting for the same old shit. Now, here's the other thing. Let me say this. We haven't gotten anything from the Republican Party. And you know why? There's no reason to do anything for us. We don't award votes. See, everybody else in this country, every other ethnic group, always carefully calculates what they're going to get out of the deal. In other words, I vote, what do I get in exchange? We don't. We're loyal ass 2-legged dogs wagging our goddamn tails, but I guess twerking would be probably more appropriate. And wiggling around and bug dancing and singing our ass off, thinking that's an accomplishment. And they say we got the Negroes over here. We own them. They're still on the goddamn plantation somewhere down in Bottomland, Mississippi. So we don't have to worry about them. We know we got our loyal 2-legged domestic animals will vote for us, so we don't have to do shit for them. So we don't do anything, and we're stuck on stupid because the rule is if one party doesn't do a damn thing for you and you keep voting for them, the other one doesn't even need to try because no matter what they come up with, you're not going to vote for them. Neither party has any damn reason to vote for you. And by the way, let me tell you something about the 13th Amendment. Somebody alluded to this. Um, there shall be no slavery nor involuntary servitude except upon due process of law as a punishment for a criminal offense. Well, guess what? Your ass is in a penitentiary. You are a slave because you are no longer in control of yourself. A system and the representatives of that system, the guards and the administrators, the wardens, and everybody else tell you ass when you can piss and shit. And you are not free. So, no, it isn't anything that suddenly became new. Just keep the hell out of the goddamn system and stop listening to the bullshit that is part of the preparation to take your ass out the labor market and thinking that being a goddamn thug, pimp, drug dealer, hoe, robber, murderer, somebody that sits there and gangsterizes their neighborhood is okay. It's not. Nobody in hell in the world does that. You get 5 people together on an island that they crash landed on and they try to set up some kind of law and order. It's natural for humans. So where in the hell did we become this unnatural group where we aren't supposed to think about law and order, public peace, dignity, and behaving yourself so that you can have a peaceful existence? Segregation? Yeah, I know what segregation is. I had to endure it. I remember a sign that I saw in a park when I was junior high school that said no dogs, no Negroes allowed in this park. And it was dogs first. And that was real. That had nothing to do with the choice of integration. That was, you're a damn animal. You can't come in here. That's a hell of a lot of difference being segregated versus deciding that you do or do not want to integrate when you got a right to make the decision. So we need to get real and stop buying into these damn excuses that are provided for us liberally, so we can decide that we have an excuse for not doing what we ought to have done. And you know where that is? That's sitting your ass down at a goddamn kitchen table and doing your homework. You do your homework, grades 1 through 12. You get your children down there and you discipline them so they do it. 1 through 12, every other damn door in the rest of your life is unlocked for you and for your children too. You may have to kick them all the way in. It's not going to stop you from having to do hard work, but quit coming up with some excuses for being cowardly, lazy ass subjects of somebody that wants to keep your ass on a plantation. Now, if you want to do this right, everybody else in the world that comes here gets it. Everybody that's been living here for a generation gets it. We've been here for several hundred years, and a lot of us don't get it. Is you use the vote as a tool. You don't give it away. It's a cost that attaches to it. Pay attention to who the hell you vote for. No, the Republican Party hasn't done shit for you because they haven't had any reason to. They've got people who are much more likely to vote for them that they pay attention to. The Democratic Party hasn't done shit for anybody in about 50 years, except go on reputation. You had the Reagan era bullshit where the Republican Party fucked everybody in the country, and we're still paying for it. But the bottom line is that at that time, the country needed a morale restoration, and that actor gave it to them. Or at least they scripted a part where he did. But you see, that's not now. That's 40 some years ago. So most of you aren't even close to being 40 years old. Well, some of you are. They got too much gray in your hair. And by the way, ladies, I'm looking at your pictures. Some of you still looking great and fine if those are your real pictures. So don't worry about it. But we got to get our stuff together, and we don't belong to anybody. Politics is not about damn loyalty. It's about what do you get out of the bargain.
Right.
Now, I passed my.
Ashley, oh my gosh, she was up here. This is why I wanted Ashley to speak when I first went to her. Because she messaged me. She was like, because as she was up here, dropped down. She requested to come back up, and then it dropped her down again. So I don't know if Twitter is messing with her account. I hope not. Maybe she's just in a bad area. So if you can hear me, Ashley, as soon as you get somewhere with strong Wi-Fi, request to come up. And as soon as you request to come up, I'm going to have you speak. And that's why I'm like, next time, I'm just going to have her speak first, because I know she's busy a lot and she's running for office. And if you go to my YouTube channel, The Real Dana, you could see the interview. And I interviewed her last week and I uploaded clips. It was a clip yesterday and it's doing very well with the numbers, where she breaks down you know, how Chicago specifically are replacing the Black residents with the migrants. So it's all had to do with public policies. But I wanted her to come up to talk about this border bill. So like I said, if Ashley comes back in, I'm just gonna have her come in and speak as soon as she come in. So let me go to
Yield to her. One last quick comment. One of the other things about all of this aid for the illegals is that it creates funds, pools of money, large pools of money. And the Democratic Party does not find itself composed of gangsters. They are basically slick punks. They're cowards. They get run off the street. They were the nerds. They got run home, and it's revenge of the nerds. But they're creating large pools, reservoirs of money that they can steal. That's what they do. The Republicans, when they do take money, they got a different way of doing it. But the Democrats create something where people think they're getting something out of it, get a large body of funds, and you can steal, and you can get away with it because you can have your buddies be employed, getting a lot of it with a check, and it's all right. Now I pass the mic.
All right, and on YouTube, Nisi, I don't know what you're talking about saying, Dana, stop deleting posts. Maybe then you will learn something, because what I wrote, it all ties in together with illegals and replace it. I didn't delete anything. So if you try to put a link, or if you try to put an attachment in my comment section, YouTube won't let you, idiot. Let me go to Yay Pete-ism.
Yeah, that's Yep, it's me.
Okay. Oh, yep, it's me. All right.
Thank you, Dana, for opening the mic. And I'm going to make 3 quick points. First of all, the Bob Marley "I Shot the Sheriff" was a protest song against the government. But Bob Marley knew he couldn't say government or else they would have shut him down. So he used the analogy of a sheriff. I shot the sheriff, not the deputy. That's the long and short of that, if I remember correctly. The second part is, Judge, I did read William Pepper's book, uh, How the King Died, or I Shot the King, and the part that he accredited to you was very, very interesting and eye-opening for me. Very interesting and eye-opening.
Well, first off, he doesn't have it right.
Okay.
And what he did get, he got from me, because quite frankly, you know, I exercised my authority as a judge, and I gave a whole lot of people clues. And there's a person now dead. His name is Wayne Chastain. He was always a fair guy. He had been a news reporter, and then he went to be an attorney. Pretty good one.
All right, go ahead and finish up.
So
Yep, it's me.
My version of what happened is not very similar to what Claude Pepper has.
Okay, well, thank
Dr.
you.
Claude Pepper. But anyway, go ahead. With that disclaimer, go ahead.
Thank you. And the third point I'm going to make is about 50 Cent. I live in Rochester. And 50 Cent, if I remember correctly, he lives in New Jersey, but he does a lot of shooting in New York City. So he gives some money to the city, but he shoots in New York City because it's cheaper to shoot in other places in this country. The other thing is, one day we're going to wake up, as the judge said, as Black people, and we're going to stop, and no disservice to the judge, we're going to stop listening to these celebrities such as 50 Cent, such as Jay-Z with his speech against the Grammys the other night. And like I said, I'm a civil servant. Every time that my pension changed, every time that there was an arbitration change, it was always done in New York State by a Democratic Senate, a Democratic Assembly, and a Democratic governor, never by a Republican, never, ever by a Republican. As a matter of fact, as long as I've been on the job, there hasn't been a Republican a governor or a Republican Senate. And I'll land my plane there. And
real quick, I want to say something. Yeah, as far as 50 Cent, you know, filming in New York, because it is cheaper than California. However, they get a lot of incentives tax on a state and city level. They get a lot of tax cuts because it's the same in Newark, New Jersey. I don't know if it's not MGM. It's another major movie company that is coming to Newark, New Jersey. They're building a big major studio there. All tax cuts.
Yes.
So
Yes.
so yeah, so by him, and you're right, it's like we need to stop listening and being influenced by these celebrities when it comes to politics, because he's only, and I love him for doing this. When you talk about business, he is a brilliant business person, but he's doing it to get in the room to say, well, if you want me to shut up and not promote Trump, give me more grants, give me more tax, give me more incentives, give me more tax cuts. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's all about him at the end of the day. Capitalism really has no moral base, but to a certain degree it should. And then too, and one more thing on 50 Cent, because he pissed me off. You get in a room with these people because you can have access to them, and you don't mention anything about Black people, and I have a problem with that.
Yes. As a whole.
Right, as a whole. So yeah, all right, thank you. Yep, it's me. I want to
I
go to
second what you say. And by the way, I'm hard on celebrities because I was in my 50s when I got that show. I was working hard in the real world, and I know the bullshit difference between your whole adult life has been faking it or entertaining or distracting somebody, and you just wind up making your own break, and people say, hey, your message needs to be out, and you got to play that damn game. And see, you got to be having the willingness and the guts to walk away. I quit that fucked up job 4 or 5 damn times and told them to kiss my ass. And they were making too much damn money for them to be able to afford that. Then I quit. For real. After 15 years, fuck you. I'm tired of you. I'm retired. I'm over 65. You can go kiss my high yellow black ass. You know, that's
all
the
right.
way you go sometimes. But you see, these folk too much in love with their money, and they've never worked a real job. So we need to start listening to people that have worked a real job and dealt with the real world and start making a calculus ourselves. See, it ain't about checkers, it's chess.
Right, but
And people play it
a
all
lot
the
of people in
time.
Hollywood, they are addicted to that fame. They are addicted to the attention as well.
Fuck Hollywood. They fuck each other. That's how they get these parts. It used to be boys and girls on the casting couch. Now it's girl and girl and boy and boy. They ain't stopped that
Yeah,
shit. So I
of course
mean,
not, because they know
the
people want fame and fortune.
it's so fucking fake.
Yeah,
Excuse my
stop saying that, like,
language.
too many F words, because I'm live on YouTube. So
Okay,
stop
you're
with the
live
Fs.
on YouTube.
All right,
I'll stop that. Let's
l-
put it this
let me
way.
go
In
to
the
another
English
speaker.
dictionary, to plant a plowed row, which is what that F word means when you use it formally, it is to plant a plowed row in agriculture. That's what
Yeah,
it
they don't.
means, and
They,
it's
the
in.
YouTube don't care. They
I
don't care
know,
what
but
it
it's
means.
in. If you want to know what I'm talking about, it's in Oxford's formal dictionary, the unabridged. So
All right,
anyway,
all
yeah.
right. I want to go to Derek.
Hey, Dana.
Hello.
I want to circle back. Judge Brown got some good points. I love those points. A lot of them are my points. Also, like I said, while we voting Democrats for 6, 7 years, expect them to do something for you, which they take us for granted as Black people. But I want to circle back to, I made a tweet this morning about why every time a Black Democrat or liberal get in power, they fight for everybody but their community, such as my mayor of New York City, Sanctuary City, and he's fighting to give the illegal aliens our tax dollars. We already given them our shelter. We feeding them. It's just ridiculous. And I looked at the Chicago mayor, the same thing. I was like, why is you fighting for those people and your people still not straighten out for the first sins of America, which is slavery, which was the first sins of America? So I'm wondering, why is that? And why do we do that as Black people when we get into power? Why do we jump on everybody's bandwagon but our bandwagon? They take what Dr. King died for and they use for the LGBT community, the immigrants that's come here, and like the judge say, the Black Caucus is no longer the Black Caucus, anything but that. The Freedom Caucus is no longer that, is anything but that. So I'm just puzzled by why we as Black people always jump on other people's bandwagons, such as the Palestinians. something hundreds of thousands of miles away. And our cause is suffering real bad right here in America. The borders wide open. Yes, the black community is being replaced with illegal aliens from down under and everywhere else in the world. As a matter of fact, they're just walking through the border and we giving them all our tax dollars. So why the hell are we still paying taxes? That's what I want to know. We have got to come together as a people. So this is enough and cut it out. The government don't have not one quarter. The money comes from us, and they continue to rob us blind, and they take care of everybody in the U.S. but the USA citizen. I'm gonna land my plane there, and I thank you, Judge, for making those valid points that you are making. I'm fed up too, and I do use the nigger word with the N word. I'm 63. I just turned 63, and I use to get attention. I use that word when Trump got arrested in Atlanta, Georgia. I came down to order niggas for Trump shirt. And I did that specifically for one reason, to get your attention so I can give you the message. And that is what's happening. I brought a lot of people over to the Republican Party and they're trying something new in
Oh,
the
that
black
was
community. So
you?
yes, I
You're the
used that.
guy.
That was me.
I
That was
hated
me.
that
And
you
the
did
reason
that,
I
kind of.
used,
I kind of hated that you did that.
I'm grown enough
Well,
to do
yeah,
that.
I'm not.
So
I
what
mean, look, you can
happened
do what
is
you want to do. So I'm
how
just saying.
how I got that title is one of y'all, you black sisters, stopped them on Fifth Avenue. I was at the tower and I had a Trump hat on Make America Great Again. So she got to call her white wife and she walked up to me and pointed her hand in my face and she said, "You should be ashamed of yourself. You're a nigger and you wearing a Trump."
Oh.
And I said, "You're right. Niggas for Trump." So that's where that
Oh,
derived
okay,
from. And
okay.
I opened up conversations. I was like, "Nigga, nigga," in every rap song, but you're not offended. But you saw niggas on my shirt, you was offended. You really got offended by that for Trump part. It wasn't niggas because you use it everywhere. And I always have black people to call me a nigga. I never had a white person call me a nigga. I would punch him in his face, but it's black people that always give me hell and call me a nigga. So, and I heard a lot of nigga in the thing tonight, except from the judge. He refused to use that word. So I embrace that shit. And I'm like, nigga this, nigga that. So the hell with it. But thank you.
Yeah, thank you, and thank
I
you for
get your point.
clarity. Thank you for
I get your
clarity
point.
for thank you for clarity for that story on
I
how that
saw
came about.
I saw you with the t-shirts. That was really that was together. I mean,
No, no, no. But I think
sometimes
the
you get some.
backstory. Can I let
Yeah,
me say something real quick? The backstory of your story, it makes sense. But this title tonight is I'm calling the savages niggas because nigga is a derogatory word. And yes, people say it in their music to express themselves the same way you express yourself on your t-shirt. But no white person better not call me nigger, nigga, or negro, or even black. That's what I'm saying. So it's like, so when you had that shirt, me as a black person, okay, I get it. But a white person who is a MAGA may say, "Yeah, we got niggas." Like, no, nigga, you can't say nigga. So, yeah, but I appreciate that
And number
backstory.
one, and number, let me just put this in and I'm done. And yes, I'm educated, but my mom always taught me never grow up to be an educated fool. Always use your common sense. And I see a lot of that, a lot of educated people that are fools. So I have 2 degrees, one in automotive technology. I have a degree in criminal justice. I work for NYPD. CCRB. I ran for the New York State governor. So yes, I have a degree, but I use common sense with that degree, like my mom told me. Never be an educated fool. So somebody with that high education, PhD, or this and that, don't use common sense. Use a damn fool.
Right.
well, that's the new educated Negro.
All
You
right.
know
So,
what used to
go
be
ahead, Judge,
funny
and I want to
about
go to
that?
Ashley.
Just one brief little comment. When I was in school as an undergrad and in law school, the militant folk that really took care of business, that didn't take any shit off of anybody, were students. Now they're the biggest pussies you ever want to find. They scared of every damn thing. They're always trying to hustle their own people. And they're like two-legged dogs. They're barking at the wolves, growling at the wolves. And back in the 60s, they used to have a joke. You ever watch The Lone Ranger and Tonto?
That's
You
not
ever
on
see
TV
that?
no more, Judge.
No, but I mean, watch it sometimes if you get a chance. Kemosabe, you know, and aside from co-opting Bass Reeves' story, a black man who actually was the real basis for Lone Ranger, that we used to have a joke. The Indians are coming over and the Lone Ranger turns to Tonto. What are we going to do about these Indians about to fall on us? Tonto looks at him. What the hell are you talking about? We, you know, but you see, we still think
Oh my
we.
God. All right. Listen. I gotta have Ashley speak. And
Well, is
she
she on?
you no, Twitter keeps dropping her down. This is and then too, let me see something. Dacking 948. No, I'm not Dana is not fucking rude. I do cut the judge off because I want us to end at 8. So I'm speeding it along. It's not me being rude. It's just that if I don't intersect sometimes, he will give us a dissertation and we're on a timeline. And I should have cut you off anyway, Judge, because Ashley came up. Now
Well,
they dropped it. Ashley, try to come back up.
come
I
on
don't
back
know.
up.
Yeah, like, and it's like, what is going on with Elon Musk, honey, and X? Because
Well,
people
he's
are still
getting
being shadow
co-opted.
banned. People being shadow banned. People, you know what I'm saying? You got the algorithm messing with people accounts.
Yeah,
Ashley,
they are, and he's trying to weed it out. But you see, bureaucracies are like that. You can't get all of it out because there are people in there that sneak when nobody's looking.
go ahead, Ashley. Can you hear me?
Hey there. Yeah, I can hear you. And it's X has been funny lately. Every time I try to talk about legislation, somehow things start getting weird. But I wanted to let people know because you had brought up that bill that has to do with the illegals. We already have legislation in place that could take care of this problem. What they're doing is they're using legislation to their incentive. Right now, we had a bill that the House Republicans have put out called HR2 that would have been very specific to the border. Well, that's being completely ignored for this Senate bill that they're going to be pushing. That's $118 billion, and a majority of that isn't even going to the illegal issue. It's not going to the border. It's going to Ukraine, Israel, the Indo-Pacific, and humanitarian aid, which means they're going to flood the NGOs with money that's going to get slushed back into these Democratic pockets for their next campaign. Do not let them fool you. So some of the ones to look at is look at Senate Resolution 45. The ridiculous amount of methamphetamines, illegals, all sorts of trafficking. They have a list on there. It's Senate Res 45. If you go look at that. The other one to look at is S 3714. There's already a specific amount of amnesty that we are allowed to give. They are trying to change it to take more. That's why the language in that is so vague because they want to be able to add to it. There's already an amount in the Constitution, there's legislation passed for that. They are lying to the people because what they want to do is say that it's the Republicans' fault that they can't close the border, and that's not true. There's already legislation in place, and there was already a House resolution put specifically for the border. They are trying to play with your mind. Don't let them do so. And now I have a feeling it's going to knock me off again because I just gave you all those resolution numbers.
Do you have those resolutions on your timeline on your page?
I have them, but they're kind of scattered, so I'll repost them again so that way people can find them in one post. So I'll go put those on there now.
All right, and then you can put it in the comments below as well, so people could click on it and and read it. And I think that bill that I don't know, Judge, if you got a chance to read any articles or actually look up the bill and read it.
I did.
I
have two suggestions to you. When you get elected, one, there is a set of laws on the books. It's called harboring or giving aid and comfort to a federal fugitive. When I was a defense lawyer years ago, I tried quite a few clients that got charged with that. I walked all of them. They were all acquitted. But all of these people trying to set up sanctuary cities, all of these people trying to give aid and comfort, turn these shelters over to them, go for these checks, help them out on the streets. Technically, they are violating a federal law, which is a felony, and they need to be prosecuted for it. And if they have plans afoot where they are planning this, that becomes a conspiracy. They all ought to be prosecuted for conspiring to break the laws relative to harboring federal fugitives. Now, you are an illegal, you crashed the border, By definition, you are a federal fugitive. You are supposed to be taken into custody, returned to the custody and care of immigration, and extradition proceedings are supposed to be implemented against you unless you do qualify as, in fact, a refugee as per American law, which these people do not, because there's a mechanism in place. There are exceptions in place, but they qualify for none of them. Next point, since we're talking about that, is we have a problem over there in the Middle East, and the US and Iran are trotting on each other's tootsies about the military personnel getting harmed because they are where they are intruding, and everybody's trying to talk about getting back at the other. So before Iran declares a jihad on us, we might consider that our southern borders are such that they don't have to launch a ballistic missile. They don't have to go infiltrate and do another 911. They can walk across the damn border. And ours are wide open. They can bring in the suitcase nukes, the biological weapons, all sorts of things. And we are wide open. And damn fools won't even enforce the law to do something about that. And any goddamn fool ought to know that the security alert alarms ought to be ringing off of the charts about somebody's going to walk across the southern border and blow something up and take down a lot of American citizens. And then some damn fool is going to be sitting up there whining about, oh, what are we going to do? Ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. I think I've heard that one in life that works. Now, pass the mic, ma'am. Come on, give us some more of what you're talking
Oh,
about.
she dropped down, and I think that was because of Twitter. So I'm gonna go to Dat, then Ken Davis, then Lashanta. Go ahead, Dat.
Yes, ma'am. Salute, Miss Dana, Judge Joe Brown. Thank you for letting me up here and speak my piece. I appreciate y'all. Peace, power, and Negro reparations, specifically for the descendants of the Black American Negroes that built this country with slave labor, per the lands promised in Special Field Orders 15, January 16th, 1865. The new niggas. Yeah, I really can't even call them that. I would say the new infiltrators have arrived. 50 Cent, Ms. Dana, I agree with you 100%. Yeah, that's just way too much. Illegals, if I hear as a reparationist here in Washington State, if I hear
You
them,
want to hear an ardent racist trying back against this, or is this?
I'm sorry, Dat. Who I don't know who that was that got off their mic, and if you are new to this space, let me
I
just.
think it was a background thing that was on
Was
media.
it?
Yeah.
Was
No, it's
that a?
me. Is this an echo?
Oh, okay. Yes, it was Arch.
Okay.
Arch, you are new to this space. Nobody jumps off their mic. You wait till it's your turn, and you are second to the last. Please don't come off your mic again, or I will cuss you the fuck out and then drop you down. Thank you.
Watch the F word, please.
I know, right? Dad, go ahead, Dad.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. So illegals. If I hear one as a reparationist, if I hear one more person ask me where they would get that money to pay us the debt that's owed, man, I'm about to lose my mind because they are certainly coming up with money for everyone else who isn't American. Straight up, the border, man. I don't understand how democracy and obviously going against what America as a whole is asking for and saying we don't want these sanctuary cities. We don't want these people coming in here after you force fed COVID shots to everybody coming in here not getting COVID shots. You giving them all this money, tax paying money. Yeah, so So yeah, something has to change and change now. The Democratic Party is not doing it, so we have to do something about it as the people. Definitely, it's time to stand up and stand together, in orderly fashion. And lastly, Bob Marley, man, happy birthday! That was one of them greats. Man, he was before my time. I'm an '80s baby, 1980. But I was right behind him, and that he made some memorable, some non-time or timeless music. So I can appreciate that times 20. Again, thank you for letting me speak, Miss Dana and Judge Joe Brown. Love your input as well, and I'll yield the mic right there.
Thank you. Appreciate you. I don't know if you want to say something, Judge. If not, I want to go to Ken.
Oh, I don't need to say anything. That spoke for itself.
Yeah.
It was complete all the way through. Very good, John. Now,
Ken Davis.
Yes, hello? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I think as a people, we need to address the after effects of Reginald Denny and how it impacted white America. I don't think as a people we ever addressed that. Judge, I know you know who Reginald Denny is.
I actually know of several Reginald Denny's. Which one are you referring to?
The one that was pulled out that truck in Los Angeles and hit with that brick in his head, and the whole nation and the whole world watched that happen.
And
white America ain't never gonna forgive that.
Why should it be paying particular attention to it?
Particular attention to it means that they seen Black America in a different light. They seen us for something that we don't understand.
What do you mean?
What I mean is they seen Black America as the greatest enemy that they ever seen. When Reginald Denny got pulled out of that truck in Los Angeles.
You're talking about in the Rodney King riot.
Exactly.
In 1991. Okay.
Yes. I don't think we ever addressed that. How it impacted white society as a whole.
Why do you need that when it's such a small incident in comparison
it's not a
to
small
the other stuff?
You think it
is. Yeah, well, I was in Los Angeles, grown in college in August 1965 when they had a somewhat different uprising. You should have seen what went on then, or growing up in Los Angeles to see what happened back and forth with the constant warfare, or just as I was getting born, the zoot suit riots that my mother told me about because she was working in LA when World War II was going on and the old man was in the army. That's when they had the thing with the Hispanic Americans and the Black folk, and they had all of these people from the far deep South in the naval base out here in Long Beach, and the Marine Corps out there, and it was really kind of rough then. And all of the people that I personally witnessed growing up getting shot to death, stabbed, beat on, within a few feet away. How about Mervyn Dimely? You know who Mervyn Dimely is? Lieutenant Governor of the state of California a few decades back. Mervyn Dimely and I were talking. It was 1967. Some of the students at 4 predominantly Black high schools in Los Angeles in the Southern League walked out of school. They were saying they were not getting an adequate education. Mervyn Dimely was down on Broadway, 42nd Street, right next to the Panther Party headquarters. I'm standing next to him. He was the state senator from the district. We're talking. This police captain walks up. Mervyn Dimely says, "Captain, my name is so-and-so." He showed him his credentials. I'm senator for this area. He said, "Oh, good meeting you, Senator. Lieutenant, I'd like you to meet State Senator Mervyn Dimely." Now, this is the man that eventually becomes Lieutenant Governor for the state of California. He says, "Lieutenant, introduce him to your sergeant. So he said, Sergeant so and so, Sergeant so and so, Sergeant so and so. And he said, Sergeant. Sergeant pulled out a nightstick and knocked the crap out of Mervyn Dimley, and everybody knew who he was. Knocked the crap out of him, knocked him to the ground, and stomped him. Yeah, I've seen that too. So I'm talking about, why are you worried about one little incident when white folk going back years have seen a whole lot of these things? Mexican Americans saw a whole lot. Chinese Americans saw a whole lot. Japanese Americans saw it a whole lot. Black Americans saw it a whole lot. And everybody did. This stuff is, that's one incident. There are 360 million people in this country right now. So what are we getting freaked out about one incident for? There is a couple of 100 years, 300 years worth of history behind this. One little monkey doesn't make a show. One monkey scene doesn't make a show. So, I mean, yeah, there was a lot of frustration. What you saw was interesting. It was down on Florence. I'm well aware of Florence. And let's see, I think it was Vermont. There's a surplus store right there that we used to go into and shop to get guns back in the 60s. They usually had a big selection right out in front of that place. We used to hang back there in the 50s when I was in elementary school. We'd ride our bikes down to that place that was still there. I'm well aware of the intersection where this occurred. Now, that was tragic, unfortunate for the working man who was operating his truck to earn his living. But this is the kind of shit that happens when we don't resolve these issues. And frustration builds up because our way of approaching stuff for our community is keep everybody pacified and diffused so the frustration and aggression evaporates, hopefully, which it never does fully, instead of letting it build up until somebody is motivated to do something about it. When you have leadership that can provide something constructive for them to do, that's great. When you don't, you get this kind of thing you got with the Rodney King incidents in 1991 in Los Angeles, which was some years after August 1965. Okay, now into my little pontification there. Keep going. That's why I wanted to ask you.
So
that.
are you
What was
done,
the
Ken? Because
CME?
I gotta move on to
No,
other
no,
speakers.
no. My whole point was what I was saying is that white America saw that. They saw something different than black America saw. When I saw that in high school, I remember in the early 90s, I remember watching that in class because our teacher played that to us. And the white students saw something much different than what we saw. And I think white America saw something much different than what we saw. I understand what you're saying, Judge. Yeah,
Can I
I do
please say
understand what you're
something?
saying. But
I'm gonna
everything
leave
that you
after this.
stated it's not visual the same way we've seen it. We can't go back to no film from everything you stated. We can't go back to no film and see it, but we can see Reginald Denny getting pulled out of that tractor trailer cab. Can we not?
Okay, you can, but what you have to understand is in the 1960s, 30 years before that, there were tens of millions of Americans that were familiar with not 180 people invading a Capitol structure or committing trespass on 1/6/21, but tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people burning stuff down, being violent, white, black, brown, red, yellow, because that's just the way people were rolling back in the 60s when it came to, we're tired of this, we're not going to have it, we're going to best consequence. We looked at what was going on in China. We looked at what had gone on in Russia before it became the Soviet Union. We saw what happened in Cuba. That was live on television. We were there and we were part of, and we saw this. So, what you saw on TV that got you thinking because it made such a big impression on us, we saw this day in, day out. We were there witnessing it firsthand or being involved in it. So it was a different kind of America then. Now it's so soft. It's some little incident like that in a place like LA where you got Rodney King got jacked up, and you see frustration in the hood down on Florence, and somebody snatched out of his truck. Yeah, it's upsetting, but the white people used to be part of that kind of riotous, violent, burn them down behavior too.
All right, I want to move on.
So yeah, but they got soft. Now I
May
just
I please? I have one thing to say, and I'm gonna move on from this conversation because I can't deal with it. I'm listening to a bunch of people talk.
this
I
nigga.
guess he didn't have much to say, did he?
Yeah, and you see the title, the new niggas have arrived, and you're one of those niggas. And I don't care what color you was born with. So don't request to come back up because you're not. You're not. You're
Did
not
he
coming back up.
did he text you anything?
I don't care. You're not coming back up because you're
No, I
hard headed.
mean
Oh no, he hasn't. But I'm
he
not
did.
bringing you back
This
up.
is the one that interrupted earlier.
Yeah,
And why couldn't he wait?
exactly.
See, I tell you,
He think he has nigger
I tell
privilege.
you to, yeah, I tell you, keep me in check here. We're good friends. I treat you like a daughter, but anyway, you got license to
No,
say
but it's like the
what you
only reason
do.
why I may interject with you is for time purposes.
Yeah, I understand, but the point of the exercise is there's got to be some order, and he's been warned. Don't be hard headed because the world don't give a damn. There are ways,
Yeah,
see,
just
things
and
will
then
enforce themselves. You don't do that.
right, you don't cut people off. Somebody was speaking. So all
It
right,
wasn't your
Ken.
turn.
Right. All right. So Ken, I'm
And
gonna move on to another
by the way,
speaker, huh?
one little remark. One little remark. I'm all for the people who went through the legal process and became citizens of this country, who got naturalized or who have permanent visas. Yeah, I'm all for that. That's cool. But you see, these folk are dissing everybody who did that by cutting in line. That's what this fool was doing. He couldn't wait. So he is a good illustration on a small scale of what we're talking about on a big scale with these illegals. They couldn't wait in line, so they jumped the line. They aren't even
Right.
coming
And
from
his
our
ass just got
neighbor.
deported. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
ICE, and I
yeah.
just deported his ass back across that border. All right,
Uh,
Lashanta, did I pronounce it right?
Yes, it's
Okay,
LaShanta. How's everybody
good.
doing
How are
this
you?
evening? I'm doing fine. I want to touch firstly on what Judge Brown just said lastly about people getting here legally. And it's like they're skipping the line. You know, when you're at lunch and your friend lets you skip. So the policies that's been put in place now is allowing them to skip the line. And then there was a young man that spoke about how every time he's going to stop listening to superstars and athletes and things like that because his benefits and things get cut. You can't sit back and let somebody tell you to do. You have to study policy. Uh, Barack was voted in because, oh, we've never had a first black president. Harris is VP. Oh, we got the first black female vice president. So you can't look at the artwork of it. You have to look at how it was made. You have to look at policy, their beliefs, what they're running on, and what they've done before they're trying to get to that next step in office. So you can't just sit back and with your arms folded and listen to what people tell you. You have to do the work yourself. And at this point in time in 2024, I'm sure everybody is literate enough to do the research, Google it, pick up a book. If you don't understand the words, pick up a book, Google it, figure out what that word means, or ask somebody that's in the law field. But you have to do it yourself, do the work yourself. Stop letting people tell you what you should do and study, meditate on what you found out about policies, and then you will know what to do. So complaining is over. Now it's time for solutions. So that's all I wanted to say. And everybody have a good evening.
Thank you. And I got your email. I will be sending you an email between today and tomorrow regarding my Sunday show panel. So I appreciate you coming up.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
And this is the thing, and I want to go to Brooklyn next. It's public policies that is the focus, and especially on the local level, because when I interviewed Ashley Ramos last week, and even with Mark Carter, they were laying out all the public policies that the Illinois governor did roll out, and will roll out in the future in the next 6 months. So yeah, Trump is not in office to say, "Hey, ICE, round them up and deport them." He's not in office to do that. And then so what they're doing now is creating public policies to protect the new illegals. So I want to go to Brooklyn.
Let me
Brooklyn.
point something out real quick. They've got at least $7,000 they're going to get courtesy of New York if you are an illegal. Now, they're not coming from our neighbor Mexico. They're coming from south of Central America, South America. So you got 20 people coming in and they get $7,000 a piece. That means that they get $140,000 that they can put together to finance some drug operations that they're enterprising enough to set up using their old connections with where they came from in South America. So are we financing something good, or are we financing a bigger headache for ourselves? Past Mike.
Right. All right, Brooklyn. Brooklyn, then I'm gonna swing back to Real Queen, then Gia, then Latasha. Brooklyn, you can unmute your mic. Brooklyn Israelite, are you there?
Hey, my fault. It's about to be real loud in my background. Y'all can come back to me if that's cool.
Well, it's quiet now. I didn't know if you wanted to start talking now. We don't hear anything.
No, it's about to be.
Okay, so just let me know when you're ready to speak. Real Queen, swing back to you, then Gia, then Latasha.
Alrighty. Gonna try to be quick here, but I want to say, man up, motherfucker, cause the government don't owe black folk no reparations. First and foremost, okay. And the question is, how are they gonna pay for it anyway? See, what black folks don't understand is this conversation about reparations is a welfare state conversation on steroids, okay? And anytime another group of people has to give you something for your welfare and common good, it's welfare. So understand what you're asking for and what you're doing. And I would recommend do for yourself and quit expecting handouts from the freaking government, okay? We don't need more welfare. And I'll land there.
May I make this observation that if all of the eligible black folk, likely eligible black folk in America got, say, $500,000 apiece cash payout, which is, I think, if you're entitled to reparations, is a moderate amount in today's currency. That's on the north side of $14 trillion. The national gross income for the United States has for the last few years hovered at somewhere around 19 trillion. In other words, there's 5 trillion more, which would prohibit the government from basically operating at all, which would not be very pleasant to anybody involved. And the people that are constitutionally suited or situated to do something about it, the Black Caucus, is not prone to. So consider all alternatives. Do you wait for the lottery, or do you approach the lottery as a possibility? Pass the mic.
Okay,
Okay.
I should say this quickly too. Understand Clower and Piffin's strategy, okay? Because what that is when you have major factions of groups of people, right, who overwhelm the government with welfare requests, right? And that's what the reparations thing will do, overwhelm our government and destroy our government and the dollar. It won't work.
So let me ask you this real quick. Let me ask you this. Do you think that the reparations that Governor Hochul just signed for the Holocaust descendants, do you think that's welfare too?
But is that monetary?
Do you think it's welfare? It's reparations?
But if it's not
yes
monetary, it's not welfare.
It's reparations. And you just said reparations is welfare.
No,
So
I
do
don't.
you
I
think
don't
the
mean.
reparations?
I don't mean all welfare. All reparations are welfare. I mean monetary reparations are welfare.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They're getting monetary. Is it welfare for them?
If it's not
May I ask
economic, it's
both of
not.
you a
Wait,
question?
no, wait, Judge. Judge, wait.
I just want to ask
But
her a
Is
question.
it welfare for the Jews?
No, it's not because that's not monetary.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought. Okay.
Can
Thank
I
you,
ask
real
both
queen.
of you? Let me ask both of you a question. This reparations for the mistreatment of Jews in World War II, is that for the small number of limited number of survivors
No, it's
or
for their
children immediately?
descendants. Their descendants. It's for their
Okay.
descendants.
Oh well, okay. Don't get mad. I'm just
No, no, no.
asking.
I'm just being very
I'm okay.
clear.
I got another question too. All right. How remote does the descent have to be for that to kick in?
Um, right now, if you're alive today, like me,
Okay.
if
I
I
mean,
had,
in other words,
that would be
how
my great grandfather. If
early
it
did?
was me that had if it was me and I had someone that survived the Holocaust, that would have been my great
Okay. In other
grandfather.
words,
Yeah.
how early do you have to be born in order to collect?
What do you mean?
In other words, how close does this person have to be? If you were born in
Descendant.
1990, yeah, well, I'm just saying, but if you were born in 1990, 2011, 2004, do you
In
get to
perpetuity,
collect?
Judge. In perpetuity.
Okay, now that gets into another illustration. It's called political clout. Somebody had the clout to get a legislator or group of legislators to introduce this and to get it passed.
Wait. Stop for a second. Let me read this. Governor Kathy Hochul today announced that New York State Department of Financial Services Holocaust Claims Processing Office, which assists Holocaust victims and their heirs recover stolen assets, help secure and return over $183 million in compensation to victims and their heirs
Heirs.
heirs for bank and insurance and other material losses. Additionally, through the initiative, the Department of Financial Services has facilitated settlements involving over 250 cultural objects since its inception in 1997. So this is just one of
Okay,
many. Let me finish.
go ahead.
This is one of many incentives, reparation packages, restitutions in the state of New York have received specifically for Holocaust survivors and their heirs, i.e.,
Okay,
descendants. Now, I'm not finished yet. Also, in the state of New York, the Jewish community, Orthodox to be, I believe, exact, they have $1 billion educational fund specifically for their schools in the state. Now, going to your point, Judge, yes, they do have a lot of influence politically, locally, because they do participate heavy, and the money that they invest in certain politicians, right, and put
all
their
right.
own in there. So stop cutting me off and let me just
I have a
finish.
question before you
Well,
go
wait till I'm
on.
finished and you can answer the
Go ahead.
question.
Go ahead.
So, with that said, this is not anything new in the state of New York for this particular group of people. It's just so happened that they stay on politicians' asses and the governor, whoever is in place, Democrat or Republican, to make sure that the restitution, reparations, or any other incentives for their group that they could benefit from. Now, go ahead and ask your question. Then I want to
Okay,
get
now,
to
all right.
Latasha.
One question and a comment. Okay. Is this thing specifically labeled a Reparations Act, or is that just what they're calling it? Because it sounds like uh, gratuitous insurance act for losses, specific loss, in other words, of a specific item of pop property, not from physical suffering. In other words, it's for compensation for a physical theft rather than for tortious misconduct towards somebody. In other words, you stole something and the value of what got stolen specifically versus somebody whipped your ass and you get compensated for that. Now, next thing that goes on, is I don't think this should be considered reparations. And I also would note that I can see if somebody in New York wanted to attack that, there are all sorts of interesting legal avenues to pursue if one wanted to bring a taxpayer's action against that is inappropriate. However, the politics are somebody is actually seeking reparations and they might want to make an alliance so somebody's do not file an action attacking that. So,
well, to your point, and then I want to move on to Latasha. Is for this is it's coming from the New York State Department of Financial Services. 250 cultural object settlements facilitated by the
250 cultural objects specified.
settlements facilitated by DFS, and it has a number $183 million in compensation to victims and their heirs. It will for bank insurance and other material losses. So
okay,
I said, and I also said, this is one of many restitutions that this particular community in that state have received. So my point, no, real quick, because you want to defend someone that goes against reparations for Black people. My question to Real Queen, I know it's not. It doesn't matter. It's restitution. But my question to Real Queen was that when the reparations that Jews did receive, whether it was in the state of New York or other places, are you going to call that welfare? This particular may not be called reparations, but it will fall under restitution. But you don't call anything given to another group that was harmed, because I'm not saying they shouldn't receive it. You don't call that reparations. You don't say they don't get it. But when it's a Black person, you say we don't deserve it, we're not going to get it, and it's fucking welfare. That is the problem. You can't say it's good for one group, and then you say it's bad for another. So I want to move on to the next speaker, Latasha.
Okay. One brief comment.
Can you comment after she speaks?
Because she's been patiently
waiting.
Go ahead,
okay, go ahead.
Go ahead,
It's
Judge.
not going to take just this. See, it sounds so simple when you are doing it right here, but when you get into it, there are complexities. And the problem is those complexities, those technicalities make a big difference. What you're describing is called a form of reparations popularly, but it's not reparations under law. It's not even restitution.
I'm not arguing that, Judge.
Now,
and I agree with you. It's not.
Okay,
it is
now,
complex.
well, yeah,
it's not,
I know.
I'm making it plain because we're on Twitter Space, and I want to move on from this.
I know.
And I also laid
I
out.
might challenge you,
and
Judge
I also,
Brown.
first of all, if anybody get off their motherfucking mic again, I will drop your ass and block you from this space. Like, I'm not playing.
Okay.
Grow the fuck up.
I'm off. Anyway, go ahead.
No, and I did say the reason why this particular group, especially in that state, they get all these things because they are heavily involved in a political process. And that and so if you want to criticize Black people, stand on that, because people like Real Queen and others, you have a good argument when you say Black people don't participate in politics, because we don't. So we don't get shit.
I'm not saying don't pursue reparations. I'm just saying that the people that you have elected to pursue reparations for you, who look like you, are betraying you because they don't have the slightest interest in that. Now,
right.
And
I'm like, and no. And I don't know what the fuck is funny, Judge Sarah, because you came up in this space last week, tried to do the same thing, and I keep saying people stay on your mic, and you doing the same thing again.
You, Dana.
It doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with whether you supporting me or not. Yes, I do have a pet peeve when people come off their mic, but it's also rude and it messes up the flow of the show. So either people who do that, either you're retarded or you just don't give a fuck. Go ahead, Latasha.
Thank you, Dana. Thank you, Judge. And I completely understand your passion behind the situation, Dana. Firstly, I want to talk about this the Jewish reparations restitution or whatever it is. So firstly, Judge, you are right. It is a popular off of the fact that it is it's continuance of funds that are being issued to them time over time, included in actually the money that they receive in their population trade agreement for having so many Jews as dual citizens, right? So this is just an extension of ensuring that these people in their neighborhoods receive what it is that they have these people in office for. Where I contest is I don't think is that we're in a situation where it is our activism that is going to change what's happening in Congress or in any of these offices. It is you having people that your constituent that reflect you in your constituency. We just talked about this last week. Look at Ilhan Omar. She is Somali. So of course, her backing, she doesn't have to have people coming to her and bartering to her of what they need. She's one of them. So she knows what they need, right? Guess what? Most of your people in your offices in New York, surprise, surprise, are Jewish. Someone just put out a list a couple weeks ago. Okay. So they don't need to have people standing outside and hollering about what it is they want. Our problem is we don't deal in bloodline. We have this mythical belief that we are from nowhere, right? We are akata, we are lost children, so we have no belonging, right? When our parents and our grandparents were a part of these groups, these political groups. They were used grassroots. There were people that were in these superintendent's offices, clerk's offices. All of these people were of the neighborhood. So we didn't need someone to come say to us, hey, this is what my community needs, because that person was from there. So they already knew. We have to get back to understanding that if they're not us, they cannot speak for us, period, point blank. It's a little bit of a sounding board off of what I was talking about last week. We watch these shows, Game of Thrones, all this stuff. We don't even see it in other communities. We're so blind to it for ourselves that we're not looking at bloodline, that we look at these other communities and think that they're not operating in bloodline. Like, it's insanity, okay? The welfare thing, it's grossly negligent. If we're supposed to be 13% of the population, if that's the number that you all operate on in that mystical world of Black people take all the welfare, then there's no way that we could be taking all the welfare. Doesn't make sense. If you look around, you see where the programs go, okay? They go to the minority. And guess what? 13% is not a minority. Those are your numbers, not mine. We know that people are delineating now. So your Black number is getting less and less because a lot of your check boxes are now spreading out into Jamaican, Haitian, American Indian, all these other things. And people are delineating. Okay, so your Black numbers are actually getting smaller anyway. But lastly, to get to the immigrants thing, because that's what the conversation is about, I posted in the chat. I know you don't like them in your screen up there, Dana, but I did put it in the chat for you all. This is not just a south of the border situation. And we have to make sure that we're being clear. I know the people in these areas know that, because the people showing up in these neighborhoods are not just people from south of the border. Okay. We know that they're trying to kill off the Amazon. They're paying people to run this way. Got it. But if you look at these videos, my parents, ex-military commander in Tucson, Arizona, has 13,000 African men, no women, no children, sitting in Tucson, Arizona. If any of you all have been to Tucson, Arizona, you know that it cannot hold 13,000 homeless Africans on the street. There's nowhere for them to go. Okay. Texas and California are seeing thousands of Asian men. If you look at the videos that I posted, clean shoes, shaved hair, exact same backpacks, okay? Samsonite backpacks, like all 150 of them got the same bags, clean shoes, but they're migrants. Where are the children? Okay? When men flee, they take their women and children. When they go to war, they leave them behind. So something's abreast. We can't keep playing this game like this is just some issue about people sleeping outside. Why is it that we're hearing these videos about our president talking about we will wage war on Texas if we don't continue to let these people in? The Supreme Court was just meeting about it last week. This is unprecedented territory. So yes, as Americans, not only do you need to be in your offices, finding people in your groom a kid. There's 17-year-old mayors out here now. Find somebody who is of your bloodline and get them in your offices. Stop playing this game that you're going to negotiate with people that have their own communities to worry about. It doesn't make sense. It obviously doesn't work. The last time any of us had prospering neighborhoods was when the constituents met the same bloodline standard as the people that were speaking for them. And I'll land there. Y'all have a good evening.
Well, one comment I'll reiterate from earlier. We have elected a lot of black congressmen and representatives and senators. Well, a senator too, Cory Booker, and they have a congressional black caucus. And the Congressional Black Caucus has a reparations committee, and chairman of the reparations committee is the gay white Jewish congressman, Steve Cohen, from the 9th District of Tennessee, which is here in Memphis. So,
but Judge, black is not black is a racial system. It has nothing to do with your bloodline.
No, I'm talking about.
So that doesn't matter about the Black Caucus. They've done nothing for us. It doesn't. All of these groups that you're mentioning, these people are of bloodlines that are not of this land. And so what happens is they're not speaking for us. They're just not.
I'm making a point, which is when you're talking politics, you're talking war. War is but the ultimate extension of politics, and politics is the lesser stage of war. And basically, you got 110,000 spears versus 90,000 spears. Why put it to the chest and spill a lot of blood when you can put it to vote? Now, that's what we're doing. It's war. So sometimes in war, you have allies. Sometimes your allies don't have to look like you, but they can be more friend to you than the people that look like you. You cannot trust somebody just because they have the same paint job. I'll tell you that from hard experience. Some of the most treacherous, treasonous bastards you ever want to run into look like your family members. So all I'm saying is there's a thing called politics. There's a thing called political science that discusses the science of it based on sociology, psychology, and all sort of population and economic dynamics and military considerations. And there are certain things that get dictated, but when it comes to us, we don't even take step one to put the process in motion. We used to, but we do not now. What we used to do is we bought leverage with our votes and our presence, and we did the BBB thing. The middle word is baby. And we forgot all about that. We bought into glorified dysfunction, and we bought into want and wish and sounds good and looks like us.
And the game has changed, Judge. You know that if you are registered to a party, then there is what's called an allocation given to the GOP or DNC for the amount of people that are registered per party. So if there are 35 million people, then so this is why we were independent. We weren't part of these political parties because we voted on policy. And so this is this Democrat Republican train is a nightmare. It runs you off the rails. If you are not voting on policy, what doesn't matter whose it is, and I will beg to differ, and some other girls at Yale who did the numbers would differ, that we're 38% of per average per county across the United States, melanated people. So if we were actually voting policy and had people in the office that, I don't care if it was your little cousin, someone in the office that knew the problems of your neighborhood, doesn't need a town hall meeting to talk about it. You pay them right? This is what they're doing. They pay every birthday party, someone's getting an envelope. What are we doing? Like,
We
we have to
become
understand that this is a land of immigrants. This is how
we
America
be,
was built. So there's not a woe is me because immigrants are coming here. The problem is the fashion that they're coming, where they're coming from, and how many we've received in a year's time. This is not normal other than pre-war times, aka the Civil War. And when you ended up with a brand new 1870, now you've got a naturalization act because you're naturalizing all of these people that you brought here to fight against the people of the land. Okay, well, it looks like history's repeating itself. We're so close to a natural. Well, how can you not just naturalize 9 million people? What are you calling them back to the border to come check in and have an appointment? Is that how what we think that's going to work? Everyone's going to have an appointment in the next 2 years, and they're going to have to go back to the deportation center in Texas.
Yeah, I think we need to have a 2 year. We need to have a 2 year massive deportation. So when Trump is elected into office next year in 2025, he needs to have hiring of at least 300 ICE officers, and for the next 2 years, a massive deportation. Set up camps at the border. Set up camps outside of these sanctuary cities. Have ICE come in, round them up, put them in the camps, and deport their ass back to wherever they come from.
There's a concept called the sleeper agent. You sneak somebody in long before you think they'll be useful when they're quite young. They infiltrate into a targeted society, and then they become accepted as part of that society when where their allegiances are to something else. I'm beginning to think that Joe Biden is one of those sleeper agents the way he's been doing. You have let in millions of people who are potentially sleeper agents of a sort. And it is an extensively bad situation because we are engaged in hostilities right now and have been for 35 years
We are
with
at
a group
war.
of people. Be quiet. You're not on the scene yet. Wait your turn. Now, next thing, we've got people who have been engaging in jihad against us. We looked at 911. That's been 23 years ago, but apparently we're too stupid to learn from that. So instead of dealing with what we do, where we have a false sense of security by making everybody go through hoops at an airport or a train station or a bus depot, which is just bullshit, we leave the border wide open to these people that TSA is supposed to stop from getting on a damn airplane, but we let millions in and invite them in and put them up and give them money, which they can use collectively to finance all sorts of operations from just venal criminality all the way up to terrorism. And we sit here and are too damn stupid to call these asses to account. What the hell is wrong with us?
And not to mention simultaneously, Judge, we also have 184 current warrant task force that were just created in 2024 to go after people with existing warrants.
Oh, wow.
So we're rounding up brothers as fast as we can and getting them institutionalized. We got brothers on Twitter talking about the jails are shutting down, they're not getting mail. And then we've got 9 million brand new people just walking around.
Right.
This is not regular times, guys.
Yeah.
We
have wait. We have 1, 2, 3, 5 other speakers because I want to end at 8. Maybe probably go a little bit over 8. But please, I don't need anybody requesting to come up and speak because this should be enough. That's probably going to carry us past the 8 o'clock mark. I want to go to Art, then Davita, Judge Sarah, Ken, Davis, and Lipstick. That was good stuff, Latasha. Appreciate it. Art, go ahead.
Yeah,
Let me make one.
I want to
Let me
address
make
this.
one quick comment. If you're listening to this and you want to make a contribution to this whole process, keep your ass out of the penitentiaries by not committing crimes where you live. That is not cool. Now, with that, I pass the mic.
Go ahead, Art.
Yeah, I want to address these. I don't know where people get these comments, or because they won't apply the things they say universally, right? Uh, Slavery happened a long time ago. So did a social contract written by slave owners. What is the point? We still live by it. And the idea that people get handouts, okay, the government's just robbing Peter to pay Paul. Somebody's getting a handout because not everybody's getting their money back. So that's like a false reality if you're not willing to apply it universally. If I pay taxes and I don't get all my money back, somebody got a handout. That's how it works. That's literally how your government works. So that can we get past that handout bullshit? Because having a government itself is a fucking handout. That's what it is. We're robbing Peter to pay Paul. That being said, who got the most handouts? Who gets the most tax cuts? Right? Like it's a game of tax cuts. That's the game we playing here. So if we're gonna talk about handouts, let's have a real conversation. 2008, there was a lot of handouts. Who did those handouts go to? Well, people say that nobody benefited from slavery. Nobody today benefited from slavery. But according to the 14th Amendment, corporations are people. And guess who got handouts in 2008? Those people. JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, aren't they beneficiaries of slavery? So these are weird ass conversations. And I landed with this: as far as we don't have the money, BlackRock in 2020 had 21 trillion in assets. They also own an AI named Aladdin. It generates on average 5 to 10% of the money that gets funneled through it. BlackRock just signed up a deal with DTCC, who processes and clears 2.4 quadrillion. That's 1,000 trillions. Even 0.1% of that would a year annually could pay back reparations with no inflation. So don't go with all these bullshit ass stories. They spent 16 trillion according to Citibank, which I would say is a conservative amount because Citibank's also a beneficiary of slavery in the last 20 years on fucking discrimination. Then they spent 21 trillion on wars in the last 20 years. That's 36 trillion. And Judge said 14 trillion earlier. So if we blew that money in 20 years, but we can't find the money to pay a debt owed, and then all of a sudden they can't pay that debt owed, and any American trust a government that can't even give its own people money? You trust that government? Because I don't trust that government. You can't even pay back your fucking debt that you've had over 100 years. Why would I trust you? So just use some common sense here when we have these type of conversations. I'll land it there.
All right, thank you. I'm gonna go to Davita.
Good evening, Miss Dana. How you doing, Judge Joe Brown? This is a great conversation. I really
Hi.
love how y'all doing. I love y'all spaces. You get to talk to people. I just wanted to say something to the young lady. That's why I raised my hand because I was just listening. But the young lady that said real said that reparations would be welfare. I'm gonna agree to disagree with her because like Dana mentioned, now the Jews are getting reparations, but why do we have to pay reparations? We didn't do the Holocaust to the Jews. It wasn't American citizens or America that did this to the Jews. So do you think that America is paying the Jews back? You said you don't think that's welfare. So I call that a double standard, ma'am. And the reason why I call it a double standard because the United States that did do something to the Japanese, they paid back their reparations to them in perpetuity, right? So that means their descendants are always going to get paid, just like the Jews. Their descendants are always going to get paid. So why is it a lot of us have indigenous ties to this land, have found freedmen bank records from our ancestors. We've have found that some of our indigenous people were enslaved. I found two of my ancestors that was enslaved, and one of them was in Georgia, Cherokee and Scottish mix, and the other one that was enslaved was in Virginia, Mattaponi, under the Powhatan Confederacy. She was enslaved as well in Virginia. So, when they talk this and talk about this country was built on the slave all the money they got for um work from these slaves building this country, all of the colored, black, or Negro back then was called, that's what they was called, all of those patents that we made in this country. I just think it's very disrespectful. And some of your talking points I usually hear from a lighter colored Americans. That's why I was kind of shocked when you said that, because I'm like, wow, I'm not going for reparations myself, but I support them that's going for reparations. I'm actually going for restitution because I'm American Indian and I have several First Nations in my bloodline. So, but I support people that's going for reparations. We have to support each other, right? We're supposed to support each other because, like, a lot of us was here enslaved on this land. I'm actually in 1389, just broke past the 1400s on my genealogy. So yeah, it really hurts me when I see um a sanctuary city that I live in, Atlanta, where they're putting more and more of our people out on the street living under I-75 and I-20, and they are putting up illegal immigrants. They're closing schools and putting them up in there, right? So our kids have to do virtual learning while they're putting these illegals up in the schools. I heard someone earlier saying they can't even get an appointment with their doctor because they're squeezing in a lot of illegals. They was pushing that vaccine on a lot of us. I have family and friends that's lost people to this vaccine, right? The fentanyl, my brother was killed with fentanyl, right? At 29 years old. They flooded our country with fentanyl, right? And at the same time he was killed a few years ago with that, a lot of other people in Philadelphia and New York at the same time was killed with fentanyl. So we have, like, these are crimes against humanity. That's what they are. They are attacking us in every, like, angle, from our food to our water to our soil, the chemtrails in the air, and all of this, and the vax. So I'm like, at this point, I'm going to end right here. Someone needs to be able to be held responsible. Someone needs to be have a tort. We should be able to sue who did this to us, right? We're still suffering because of it. So yeah, I had a problem with that statement, especially when she said that the Jews weren't getting welfare and we weren't the ones who did the Holocaust to them. So why do we have to pay them? And I'm going to end there.
Can I defend myself really quick? First, I
Go
said,
ahead.
have respect for Dana and Judge, okay? First of all, I want people to understand what they're actually saying. Look at the facts. I never said I'm against reparations. I'm against the implication, the application thereof, okay? First of all, Black people are arguing a flawed way to get the reparations. We're emancipated and free. First and foremost, that's a reparations process to correct slavery. Secondly, we are citizens. We are allowed to own land and property. Okay. We are paid for our labor. So where is this notion that nothing has been done to repair the situation? Also, I look at it in terms of, as a Black woman, our Black men need to learn to stand up on their own 2 feet, pick themselves up by their bootstraps, and man, for as long as Big Mama is opening her purse and the government, okay, is opening its purse to them, they will never learn how to be able, full bodied, wholesome men who can do for self. And that really fucks with me, knowing we come from such a crippled people that need to argue for set asides and handouts and more welfare and increased welfare super states in order to come to the fucking table. And I'm tired of this whole racist slavery, 400 years of slavery discussion, because it's moot today. We're free people, emancipated. We need to do for self and correct this conversation. Now we're talking about municipal disinvestment, yes, pay reparations for that. And the underprivileged blue cities that have been hit the hardest, such as Chicago, Detroit, Philly, whatever. I'm all for that. But the slavery reparations thing, it's moot. You can't prove it. You can't argue it. Sounds good on the internet, armchair Monday morning quarterback spaces, but it won't work in the real world. That's all I'm saying, and I'll land there.
All right.
If I might make a very brief comment.
Yeah, after you, then Judge Sarah.
We hear this thing about how the Constitution was written by a bunch of racists. Well, we can play by the rules now because they are available to us. But I see everywhere I go, I see Black folk fixated on basketball. And the basketball we play had its rules set up by the NBA, National Basketball Association, which at one time was one of the most racist institutions in the United States. The other thing is our slave history. Now, I wouldn't fight reparations. Not at all. I'd appreciate it. They owe me a lot of money from the crap I put up with personally. But let's put it this way. Every single ethnic group on this planet Earth has at some time in their historic past, been the source of a lot of slaves. Every single ethnic group, every single nation has supplied a lot of slaves. And the difference is interesting but profound. It's small, but it's great. We went through what's called chattel slavery. That means cattle. Chattel is French for cattle. In other words, you were considered steers, cows, pigs, domestic animals, not enslaved humans, but domestic animals. And I think one of our problems is that breeding programs to produce more suitable domestic animals were entirely too successful because we need to start thinking like men and women who may have gone through enslavement, but were not turned into domestic animals. We don't need to wag our goddamn tails because we just love some massa so damn much that even if he or she doesn't have that title, we don't act like they do. And we need to get aware of the fact that we fall into a whole lot of traps because the process of domestication that they attempted has instilled in our culture a lot of the things that we hold sacred right now is a way to further our domestication. So, if I might make this suggestion, read deeply and not just trying to find somebody black to tell you how to do it. Just read what humans have done, and you will see that throughout all of recorded history, which is about 3,000 some years long, where we have a big flavor of it, where we can retrieve it, how people get themselves together is pretty consistent, and maybe we need to learn. So I'll pass.
Judge Sarah, and then we're going to go Ken Davis, then Lipstick.
Thank you, Dana. And hey, Judge Joe Brown. You guys, this man is a wealth of knowledge. And I really don't think you understand the information that he's presenting to us. Oftentimes, I think because he speaks so eloquently, not trying to disrespect anyone, that he goes over people's head. And the idea of domestication, I don't know if you understand what that meant. There's a couple of things I want to talk about because I'm developing a Black party, okay? And one of the biggest issues is the family keep on pointing fingers, looking in the other lane, and concerned about everybody else. These people get these things because they work together and they have political power. They have political power because they work together. Okay? And so what you have to recognize and you have to think that we have been in this country and we have been oppressed. We've been under a lot of stress. So you have to think about yourself and the way your mind works, that it's a possibility that it might be a malfunction. If you're living under stress, you're not functioning the best. What many of us do is we default to what's called the reptilian brain. And all the reptilian brain wants to do is protect itself. It's not the neocortex that thinks critically. At first when the real queen said what she said, I was like, what? But she further clarified what she meant. And she really made a good point in what she said. Um, about our condition and taking responsibility for us and not looking for someone to give us something. Um, I want to just briefly talk about and forgive me, you guys, because I lose my train of thought because I get emotional because this is not rocket science. Okay. I want to talk about the um reparations. When I lost my place online, I had my place online with the 5 pillars of reparations were. The 5 pillars of reparations is restitution, compensation, rehabilitation, satisfaction, and guarantee of non-repetition. And sister, I'm a victim of anti-Black hate crimes, fraud, the cover-up of by the state of California. Okay. And what you said that made a point, you said, oh, we want to go through it by slavery. And sister, you're absolutely right. That's how you know what goes on in California with Gavin Newsom is some bullshit. California was a free state. And they want you to do lineage-based reparations, live it to depending on slavery instead of depending on we not free in this country. That we're not equal. And so what happens in the judgment system is if you identify the injury and the harm and the constitutional violation, and sister, I see you and I appreciate you, but Black people are not free or equal in this country. And that's the constitutional violation. My purpose for restitution for reparations is non-repetition. I'm tired of them killing Black men and stealing Black babies for a profit and harming Black women. I can get my own money just like you, sis. Okay. But when you show damage, you get what's called restitution. When people harm you, that's the way the law works. When you show that you've been damaged and you've been harmed, they identify the damage and the harm and they repair you and they restore you through financial compensation. So my concern is us not being equal in this country. My concern is the continued repetition of harming Black people. But sister, I hear what you said. But at any rate, you guys, what I want you to understand, you keep looking outside yourself for repair, for liberation. I just was going back off with some guy talking about the blue party and the red party. You know what? That's why I want to talk about the Republican Party really quickly, because I'm a Republican. Can I talk about that real quickly? And let me explain something to you. Republican believes in liberty,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
economic prosperity, American values and traditions, and restoring the American dream for every citizen of the great nation. As a party, we support policy that seeks to achieve those goals. Just like sister, I'm MAGA. Okay. And so where the Republican Party sees us, they don't distinguish like Democrats and pimp gays and Black people and transsexual. They don't pimp them. They perceive everyone to be equal. Okay, so that's why you think, oh, they don't like Black people. No, they don't distinguish. We're American, that's the premise that they work on. But they do believe in economic prosperity. It's a belief that Republicans will not go along with reparations, and I think that's a fallacy because it's not presented properly. If you increase the money supply, it boosts the economy. Many Republicans are business owners. They own corporations. See, they're not packaging reparations appropriately. The Democrats who's playing with you and dangling a carrot. They're not showing the Republican Party, Republican and MAGA, people who own companies, who own corporations, who will see if Black people, first of all, repair and undo some damage, which is going to change our perception and how we feel, our happiness and our feelings and our emotions. We're going to sell that. But at the end of the day, they're going to go out and they're going to buy homes, go into restaurants. They're going to spend money. And see, you don't understand. Those white Republicans, they understand money's green. And if you show them how I'm going to help you make more money, even if they don't like Black people, They like how money is green. If you understand what I'm saying. So the idea that Republicans are not going to give reparations or will not approve, that's because they have not been packaged properly. That when you increase the money supply, the economy boosts and bangs. I think I feel like I'm forgetting something. And forgive me, Dana. You always reprimanding me and chastising me, girl.
Because you never follow direction.
And you be real mad this time. You be real mad at me.
That's because it was other people earlier, and it's like I don't be having patience. Not for adults. Only got
I think you
patience
was
for
more mad at
kids.
Judge than you was at me. But
No, I wasn't mad at him.
Like he bit you off.
No,
and I caught you at a bad time.
No, he could cut people off because this is his space. I'm talking about everybody else. Y'all just don't follow.
No, y'all was fighting before I came in. Y'all was arguing, and what
we don't argue. We don't.
Y'all discuss. But you know what? The real Queen Matt, and I want to say this real quick because I know I wanted to say something else. Like y'all, the feeling and emotion that you felt by what she said. See, that's one of the problems is that we feel things and we get angry. And we default to the reptilian brain. And the reptilian brain is not critical thinking. It doesn't think abstract. It don't see things properly. All it wants to do is protect itself. It wants to sleep, fucking protect itself. That is the reptilian
brain. What are you talking
brain.
about, Judge Sarah?
I'm talking about the anatomy of the brain, ma'am. I'm talking about how.
So you talking about So what are you saying? You saying black? Well, I would say.
Here we go. There we go.
Americans are just emotional, but are you saying that particularly the black people are too emotional than other?
No, what
groups?
I'm saying to you, ma'am, is it's actually one of my cases when I filed my lawsuit against the state of California for black people that the reptilian brain. If you went to school and you
are you a psychiatrist?
No, this is you learn in 10th grade, ma'am. You learn this in 10th grade.
No, we don't.
Let me answer your question real quickly.
Are you a licensed or board certified psychologist or psychiatrist?
No, what I'm talking about, Dan, is you let me respond. And this is what happens with us. See, what's happening is
it's not happening.
You're defaulting to the reptilian brain
you
now,
are accusing people.
No, you're not.
You're accusing people in this space of leading or talking with their emotions.
No.
And you're trying to diagnose people with something that you have no professional training in.
Okay, so let me respond. Please let me respond. Now, see the impulse control and the impulse control and the cutting off. That is the reptilian brain. All I'm going to ask you to do.
No, let me mute your ass real quick. No, 1 second, Judge. 1 second, because I could mute, I could cut, I could drop, I could block in this space because I'm controlling this space. See the difference there, Judge? That's not an impulse.
That's
me regulating my house.
That's
when you have your house, you regulate your house.
Okay, now back to this. What she means by reptilian brain is this. The reptilian
I don't give a fuck about the reptilian brain because I need to go on to other speakers.
Listen, it's on your point too. It backs up what both of you are saying.
I don't need I don't need to be backed up. I don't give a shit.
Look.
That's my point.
I don't. You've been talking about it without realizing it. All the reptilian brain means is you don't have to think, you react. You are emotional. You react to what goes on around you. Yeah, I know what the fuck she was talking about.
And that's why. And that's why I said you are not a board certified nothing. You're not even a fucking judge.
That's
no. So and I get her point. But when you come up here, and this is the thing, we're all adults, but you come up here saying, well, you act with emotion and you need to learn how to do. Shut the fuck up and just focus on your objective point of view. That's what I'm saying. Latasha, Art, Lipstick, Davita, Real Queen, Judge Joe Brown, Dana, Ken don't need a diagnosis from someone who is not a professional in it, and especially if you did not ask.
Okay.
No, my turn to respond, Dana. Let me respond.
No.
Why can't I respond?
No. See,
but see how I'm calm.
How the hell you jump over the goddamn mute button? How you jump over the mute button? Because the shit is mute and you still talking.
Okay, ladies, be polite with each other. Come on.
No, and Judge Sarah, just pause because I need to go to Ken and Lipstick, and Latasha and Art got their hands up, and I'll come back to you, and then we're gonna close the room out. King and you requesting to come up. I did say earlier I'm not taking no more requests. So I want to go to Ken. Ken, make it quick because you already had your dissertation earlier. And then Lipstick is a new speaker. Then I'm gonna go to Art Latasha, and I'll come back to you, Judge Sarah. Not a real judge, but that's your name. Go ahead, Ken Davis.
I just want to ask the judge a question. Judge, and this is old Scoff talking to you. If you go to school and you was taught if somebody takes something from you, a bully, and you went home and told them, hey, the bully took something from me, what are your parents gonna tell you?
Did you whip his ass?
No.
Or did you punch him in the mouth? Did you hurt him?
Yes, but
I
they gonna
think
tell
he
you.
asked me that question.
Well, I
And
thought
sir,
you
not
said
every
judge.
family,
Okay,
not
I'm
every
wondering
family.
why in the fuck
He was asking me a question, Dana.
Oh, he was?
Dana, you're so abusive
Yeah,
to me.
he
I want you
Oh,
to
I
know
thought
that
he
you're
was asking the
very
judge
abusive.
because the judge started talking. I'm thinking that was for the judge. So the judge
I
cut you off, Sarah, not me.
But both of us use that
So,
judge
Judge, why
moniker.
are you?
I'm Judge
why are you
Sarah,
cutting
and
in
that's
on
my
Judge
oppressor.
Sarah?
Dana, let me respond to him, please.
He cut you off, honey. I'm thinking he was talking to him. Go ahead.
No, he was trying to make a case for using that reptilian brain. And brother, with
I was not.
No, no. So he will not let me clarify the reptilian brain.
You should go take that and stand in the corner real quick.
Okay, so how you're aggressive and how you're angry. What I'm referring to is the anatomy of the brain. And the only person it seems like who understands it is Judge
Go
Joe
stand
Brown.
in that corner somewhere.
Because y'all
We're not
don't get
listening
it.
to no reptilian
This is
brain.
the anatomy of the brain. This is how the brain works. Okay, so when you get aggressive and angry and you're under stress, it's a defense mechanism. Okay, so you were taught if a bully fights you, you fight him. And in the hood, in the ghetto,
No, that's not what I was talking
you
about.
have to make examples. But when you live in other environments, you ignore the bully. You try to work through it. It's not always aggression. See, that's the reptilian brain. The aggression, Google reptilian brain. I'm gonna land right now, and I'm gonna come back later.
That was inherently stupid. You can't ignore a bully. The more you ignore him, he's going to come at you more. So you should go to your hut and stand in the corner.
That is in areas where you live, sir. That's not. Some people talk through problems.
Areas,
some people actually use
who
that
promotes
cortex and work
who
through it.
promotes learning from a
and
bully?
Be aggressive. In this environment, you have to fight and be aggressive. But where I come from, you talk through it and you work it out, sir.
With a bully. Interesting. Carry on, genius.
I've been bullied since I've been here. If you see me be aggressive, I've been bullied. I've been
First
bullied
of
by
all,
people
Judge Sarah,
when I walk in the room.
Wait, hold on for a second.
The
Judge
fangs
Sarah.
come out. Dana bullied me all the time. You see me
Judge
being
Sarah,
aggressive
you
with her?
are a straight up
Do you see
troll.
me being aggressive with her?
Why?
Because I like me and I have great self-esteem.
Hold on, stop. Damn, you go these run on goddamn sentences. Judge Sarah, you a troll, honey, because now you got the other speakers doing their second turn talking about brains and shit. That's not the topic, Miss Stain. That is not the topic. That is not the topic. And I'm confused because I'm thinking Ken was talking to Judge Joe Brown because he answered the question, but he was really talking to Judge Sarah. So y'all confusing me. You know why you confusing me? Because nobody's not staying on the goddamn topic. So no, Judge Sarah, you're not being bullied. Every time you come in a room, you stir up shit. All right. I need to go to Lipstick, honey. You can unmute Lipstick.
Thank you so much. And hello, Miss Dana. Hi, Judge.
Hi.
Long-time follower of Judge. He even replied to me one time. I was so excited. To everyone in the room, the first statement I want to make is that with what I do every day, I see your pain. I feel your pain. To Miss DeVita, I want to tell you straight up, I am so sorry for the loss of your brother to fentanyl. I know this pain. We carry that crap daily. It is paid for under a government contract. I am also under an NDA, non-disclosure agreement. This is why I am under a moniker instead of my name, and this is why you see my feet instead of my face. To the next point, we are here to talk about the border and the security, and I want to explain what I have found. Now, this may subject me to a lot of criticism, but I want to give you step by step by step what is being told to you via the news. And then I want to tell you what is actually happening. The news, quote unquote news, the big three, the cable news, there are only 2 to 3 smaller channels that will actually tell you the truth about what is happening. They get their information from researchers like me because they are small, they are managed by people, and they are climbing to try to become the next Fox, the next CNN, what CNN used to be when they started. And I'm in Gen X, and that is what I do. I have a very analytical uh, way of thinking. So let me tell you, as a people, I respect you. I see your color. I cannot speak to your pain because I have not walked in your shoes. I respect you, no matter who, no matter what, no matter what color. I respect you. I have to. That is part of my business.
Word
And
salad.
and
Why are you interrupting? Do not interrupt, please.
word salad. Wow,
She's
triggered.
not being Kamala Imhoff. That's her opinion. Let her state it. And by the way, there is a basis for what she's saying in theory for political science. So go ahead and you'll have your turn, sir.
Okay, so let me make this quick. Every one of us on this board that has a paycheck, that is getting a paycheck, you get $1. Your dollar is actually worth about 37 cents right now to you as a person. I'm sure you've been to the grocery store and seen the meat prices tripling. Let's get to why that's happening. All of these billions of dollars that are going to what they're calling this Ukraine invasion, a lot of that money, and I have done the tracing for that, a lot of this money that has gone to the Ukraine is being funneled back into through Italy, through the Vatican, and to Soros' son, who and George Soros is at death's door. Rest whomever. I wish no ill on anyone. And we are paying for this invasion. And make no mistake, this invasion is just that. It is the prequel to a war on American traditional values, a war on anybody that's here, no matter their color, and a war on the good things and the freedoms that all of us, no matter who we are afforded as Americans. This war is being financed by you and anybody that is in this room and anybody that works for a living and anybody that doesn't work because it's being taken in the form of a deficit. This deficit could be wiped out, just as RT said, within any short amount of time. It could be wiped out. But this money is being paid for by you by a fake narrative that's being fed to you through the news media. And I want everyone to know that I hold no ill will because of anyone's color. I see your color. I respect it. I cannot speak to your suffering because I have not walked in your shoes. You can take a look at my bio. It will tell you more than I can say here tonight. I don't want to take anyone else's time. I respect everybody here. I want to thank everybody for speaking. I want to thank you for letting me speak. And please, people, be aware, be safe. Homes are being broken into. They are being gang and bum rushed by these people that are here illegally. They are planning, they are plotting, they are getting desperate and tired, and they are starting to rise up. So please be aware. that was planned. It is now being carried out, and I wish peace, health, and prosperity to everyone. I have no angst toward anyone here. Thank you for letting me speak, Judge and Dana. I wish you all the best. Thank you, much respect, and with that, I yield.
Thank you. I appreciate you coming up.
Thank you. By the way, that's profound. Let me say one quick thing. I think I know who you are. So when you want to cut her off, you need to understand this may be one of the people that actually does what a lot of folk are complaining about, or at least she works with the industry and she's trying to tell you how it works. So you pay attention.
Yeah, and I also want to say to Davita and to Lipstick, I had 2 people in my family who died from fentanyl as well. And Kennedy, who's in the YouTube chat, saying that, he made a statement. I just want to pull it up regarding that. And fentanyl is usually found in illegal drugs. I'm just saying it doesn't matter, because I'm not judging anyone if they were taking illegal drugs or whatever, thinking that they were sniffing cocaine. People are not intentionally wanting to take fentanyl and die. Getting high and wanting to die are 2 different things. And just because I'm getting high, you don't have the right to put something in the drug that I'm paying for, that our government is allowing to come into this country. You don't have a right to put something lethal in there that's going to kill me, which is why, Judge, and you can contest to this, that people can actually, the family could bring up charges against the quote unquote drug dealer, because that has happened when you see these celebrities that died of fentanyl overdose, and the drug dealer ended up being arrested and going to prison. So there's no judgment, and it is a problem. And on top of that, a lot of these people who are quote unquote doing what you would say illegal street drugs, they are already addicted because of the opioid or opium. I hope what is it? Opioids?
Yes, ma'am.
Crisis. So you blame pharma. The biggest drug dealer ever in history is the pharmaceutical compliant, which has accomplices of the health insurance companies and our federal government. So please don't come up in here passing judgment, honey. Don't do it. So Ashley came up. Go ahead, Ashley. Then I did bring up the Negro, because the Negro has been coming to my Twitter space since day one. So he's the exception. Go ahead, Ashley. Then the Negro. Then I'll come back to I see Latasha and Art, and then we'll close it out. Oh, yeah. So go ahead, Ashley.
Thank you. So I was listening earlier, even when I couldn't speak, and there was a mixture of talk between, migrant and the money that's costing, and reparations. And I heard a little bit of that. And if someone wants to, speak on what I'm about to speak on, I would really like to hear. I'm very interested to hear what this is, because I spent time in different Black spaces asking questions, trying to figure out on a legislative, aspect what that would look like, because it's a very true statement. We're taking money to take care of illegals that have no right to any of that money, and the idea of reparations has been dismissed multiple times. And on a social level, one of the things that really irritates me is people will say things, and I'm just using this as an example. Yeah, bad things happen to Black people, but bad things also happen to Jewish people. I'm only using that as an example. And it bothers me. And I said, but we're not talking about Jewish people right now. You can talk about one pain without having to try to equate it to another. So when you're discussing,
you're talking or something.
I'm sorry. Can I go ahead, Ashley? Everybody needs to stay on their mic. What happened?
So,
go ahead.
So when you're talking about the Black Americans' pain and the idea of reparations, I really do feel like, from having discussions with other people, that in order to agree to reparations, they almost feel like they're taking upon them a personal guilt, which I don't think that that's the case. I did not hurt a Black American. I never owned a slave, but I acknowledge that the history of America was built on the pain of a Black American. You don't have to feel guilty yourself for admitting that something bad happened to another person. And when we do that, we open the conversation up to saying we do have something that is still responsible for that, and that is the United States government, because they were complicit in the legislation that allowed for that pain. Once we separate this idea of personal guilt from the idea of there is a need to right the wrong that was done legislatively, I think that we can really open up the conversation that way. And like I said, this is just something that I've come across based on me trying to study this and asking questions, even in uncomfortable spaces. I've been called everything but a child of God in a couple of Black spaces. I see you down there, Duke. But I don't care, because I have to learn and understand if I'm actually going to do something. So that's kind of where I'm at with the situation. I don't think illegals should get any money from any United States taxpayer. I do believe that there is a place for reparations based on the fact that we have a government that is still responsible for what was allowed at that point in time, and we have to make that right, the same way we do with other people's pain. So I would really like to see, if anybody has any comments or any, thoughts on that, because the only tax money that I think we should be spending on illegals is deporting them. And then once we do that, it should be done. And I think that the conversation of reparations should definitely begin. But I'll let my
Can I respond and please let them know you're a Republican. Please tell them you're a Republican.
Please start responding, because Ashley is running for District 2 in Chicago, House of Representatives, District 2 in Chicago. Follow Ashley. Go to her website, electashley.ramos.com. Is that correct, Ashley?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, follow her, support her, donate to her campaign, because she is about policy. She is for the people. And like Judge Brown described before, I will consider her more of a stateswoman than a politician. All right, I want to go to the Negro, Latasha, Art, and then I'll come to you, Judge.
Hello.
Sarah. Yeah, can you hear me, Judge?
Hello.
Oh my God. Can somebody come on and can you
Hello?
guys hear me?
Yes, ma'am. We can hear you.
I hear you, Judge. Do you hear us?
I hear you now.
Okay, but he doesn't hear me.
Off for a minute there. I hear you.
Yeah. Okay, you hear.
Do you hear me?
Do you hear Miss Dana, Judge?
She's coming through very faintly. Say something, Miss Dana.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but you can't hear me.
Yeah, you might have to. Yeah,
and
you might have to
the
drop.
Negro, you're on a
I'm gonna drop and come back in.
All right, come back in. Can you get off speaker, Negro? The Negro.
I had headphones on. Is that a little bit better? I lowered down the volume.
Lower a little bit more. Yeah.
How's that sounding? Is that better?
That's better. It was like echo-ish.
Okay, so I want to say thank you for allowing me a mic. That was very, very kind and sweet of you, Sister Dana. I definitely like reading the title. The new N-words have arrived. I'm gonna hit you with the Paul Mooney quote. Everybody want to be an N-word until they get treated like one. They ain't gonna ever be the original OG of the N-words. That's how I look at that whole thing. They're gonna be deported, they're gonna be sent back because they're violating the rules of this country, they're beating up cops, they're engaging in human trafficking, drugs, and things that are very pivotal and very dangerous to our community, We got we got thousands upon thousands of Black women being abducted every day, and there has not been any serious cases or redresses towards that. And I'm looking at them as the culprits, That's how I'm looking at the situation. So I want them all out the paint. I don't care if you're clear as a sheet of paper or dark as the asphalt that I walk on every day on these concrete streets. I want them out the way. I want them back home. I want them to be productive citizens in their homeland and actually building up businesses and stuff to support the country of origin of where they're from. So, so they'll never be the new N-words. We're going to always be that, and we're going to get what's owed and reparations due to that. Anybody that try to take that title from us is going to be stepping on our necks for that reparations, and I can't have that. Reparations is ours. So, and you see how the pivot where all these people want to talk about the illegals should get reparations, or LGBTQ+ should get reparations, or like they went through something.
So that's just my thoughts to the title in the space. And I want to say thank you for throwing me a mic.
You're welcome. All right, Latasha, Art, Judge Sarah, and I did bring up Duncan, and that's going to be Duncan will be the last speaker. Go ahead, Latasha.
Thank you. So, really quickly to speak to Ashley's question, I know you were talking about, wanting to understand. I think that one thing that could help you better gauge the situation is to understand people put a lot of emphasis on the slavery part, and God knows that's not a slight. Everyone knows it happened and it was terrible. But slavery was also illegal. And this is a lot of the problems that we're finding with people understanding how we got to today and, why this legal premise, is what it is. You have to also understand that post that there was a misclassification of people post Civil War. And then 1870 Naturalization Act happened and there were some people who were given citizenship that were then pushing people out of their homes. There were great migrations of what you would call melanated Americans out of their homes and off of their land. I can send you several cases. I followed you to show you where people are now finding their land, melanated American people, and are suing on individual basis and getting their land back due to these egregious happen to them. Black Wall Street, which was Greenwood, which were American people, not African slaves. Those people were pushed out of their area. Their towns were burned. Come on into the 1900s, you'll find more misclassification. We were given a second classification from there. Black coming into the picture. The Snyder Act was then created, which said that if your parents were Indian, but you were considering yourself Black post education, because we were educating everyone that they were now Africans. If you were considering yourself Black, you now have no rights to your family land. And if you were seceded your family land, you now owe taxes on said land. So people lost their land in droves due to taxation laws. Then you move into the 70s where our businesses, the next mass immigration happens, post Homestead Act, where they were giving homes to people for $50, and we were being excavated from the south into the north and over to the west and having to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps and start over. So now you have families who have started businesses, started communities, and now because of their quote unquote minority status, any immigrants that come into the cities then go to minority neighborhoods. And now you have minority neighborhoods that are now pushing those melanated American businesses out. Up until 1970, the melanated American owned 7 out of 10 small businesses in our neighborhoods. Today, we own 0.5. 1970. Then you go for mass incarceration, i.e. you're Joe Biden. Then you look at the crack era, which there was no fentanyl or opioid extravaganza. It was if you were on crack, you were a monster, you were jailed. Okay? So now you have broken homes, you have disconnected families, you have grandfathers and grandsons that do not have any relationship. So you don't have a culture passing of people who were paying taxes, living in their homes, working hard. We had local unions come in, and due to these minority laws, these new migrants were now the majority of the minority. So guess who got all the construction jobs? When our grandfathers were construction workers and railroad workers. Then these companies were moved to other countries. Okay, so this is not just a situation that has something to do slavery. It's weak. What it has to do with is the specific aggressions to melanated Americans that own land and property. The same thing that you're giving reparations to Jews for in their neighborhoods. So I think we need to keep that premise when we talk about what's happened to the people. This is not a slavery problem. Okay? Every decade, there's a new aggression for a specific set of people. Lastly, when we come back to this immigration situation, there's the thing we have to remember with this is that not only are they receiving $9,000 a month, I think that we have to understand that there's legislation right now out there, privately and publicly, to fund and house people, to give stipends to businesses that had apartment buildings closed. They will now open them. They had to state a code. You see these 300 apartment complex, 300 units. I'm a vice president of lending for a bank, so I see this every day. These stipends are coming through the government to open up these places. Okay, so the next thing you're going to see is naturalization. There's no way you can privatize citizenship for 9 million people. So we're going to see another naturalization. It's coming. And most of these people, if you look at these numbers, are not coming from the South. They're coming from the Eastern continent. So I'll land there. This has been a great space, Dana. You always do a great job. I appreciate the time.
Thank you. Appreciate you being here. I'm gonna.
Thank you, ma'am. That's good to hear that from somebody that actually does this or deals with these considerations as a business. Thank you.
Art, then Judge, Sarah, then Duncan. I see 3 people in queue. I gotta see. I don't know. I gotta see the time where we're at if I'm gonna bring you guys up. But go ahead, Art.
Yeah, I'll be brief. People should be very wary of people to say, you need to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Cool. Let's go with that logic. You need to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Well, then stop asking for a government. Get rid of it. And you tell them whenever they say some governmental crap, pull themselves up by their bootstraps. It's exactly what you reply back. Otherwise, it becomes a moot conversation piece. I'm tired of hearing that pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And then people double talk and say government, vote. What? Vote for what? People not pulling themselves up by their bootstraps? That makes no sense. You don't need to vote. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. I'll land it.
Oh, thank you. Judge Sarah.
Thank you, Dana. You know what? I just want I always lose my train of thought, Dana. The primary thing that I'm trying to say to you guys, and it's really always hard to articulate this. We are always in defense mechanism, and that is the reptilian brain. It is the anatomy of the brain. We're always in defense. What we need to be is in offense. America is a capitalist society. We need to be focusing on being able to compete, not worried about what this other people are doing. If we're well positioned, they can't harm us. If we're well positioned, they can't compete with us. That needs to be the focus. I don't know what else to say. I come here and I try really hard. And to the gentleman, you said something about people bullying. Sir, I'm bullied every day on this app. Every day people say shit out of the way to me. I'm a mature adult and I like myself. My purpose is to come here and get my family to get together and have some cohesion. So when they talk crazy, my neocortex part of my brain, the critical thinking part of my brain tells me to ignore it, to let them talk crazy, but to continue and focus on what needs to be done. We need to stop worrying about everybody else. White people being racist, white people doing that. We need to worry about our family. Black people, us as a unit. That's what's missing, family. That's what everybody else is doing. So I appreciate you, Dana. Y'all, Dana always tell me off, but Dana always lets me in, and she always let me speak. She always tell me off, though. Dana, is it the impulse control that I have? Which
I
is a
think you need
function.
to take your own advice.
It's a function of the reptilian brain. No, ma'am, what I'm trying to explain to you, this is how the brain works. I have impulse control issues. That is the reptilian brain. And
okay, so you do admit that you do have impulse issues.
Dana. Okay, let me be calm.
So you you admit to it.
Dana, what I'm trying to say to you.
Okay,
so what happens is you want to focus on me. You want me to take ownership. Sister. Okay,
listen.
We all do. It's the way the brain
all right, then.
works.
So then focus on you.
And
because you know what you do.
See, that's the problem. Focus on
always,
me. It's not
stop. Because you're not gonna overtalk me. Let me speak. I'll let you speak, and then we're gonna move on. Because you say that person, you want to externalize everybody else, but please include yourself, because what you do in every space in this one, you always hop off your mic. That's an impulse, Judge Sarah.
And I know that, and I own
All
it.
right,
But it's
then.
not
So
me.
then,
It's we.
so then
It's we.
leave.
It's we.
No,
It's
you
not
don't
me.
say
It's we.
we.
It's us. And you
Yeah,
keep
but you don't say we. You say you.
Okay,
Not
sister,
you
I appreciate
personally.
you. Thank
You
you.
say other. You point the finger. You talk about other people. You don't add yourself. So if you want to talk about the brains and all this stuff, behavior, impulse, include you. How about that? I'm gonna go to Duncan. Duncan.
Yes. How you doing, Dana? And thanks for letting me up. And how you doing, also, Judge Brown, Judge Joe Brown? Definitely don't want to leave him out. Um, yeah, I want us to
Hello.
be, yes, sir, yes, sir. I want us to be very careful about words we use in regards to when discussing reparations. Um, to say that slavery was not illegal, say that slavery was outlawed, I think that's number one. It's false because the government sanctioned the business of slavery, and if we are to say that the government did not sanction the business of slavery, that removes our grounds for holding the United States government accountable for sanctioning a human rights atrocity like slavery. After slavery, I know there was peonage and people being falsely enslaved, and at that time during the peonage, yes, it was illegal, you know. But that to say that slavery was to say that slavery was illegal is just totally false. You know, I don't know where that even came from. But another thing is I like to say that I do disagree with illegal immigration. But the only difference that I take a particular type of view on is that I don't think they should just be deported. You know, I believe if you sneak into a country illegally, it should be a felony. I believe that the United States need a lot of those people to be in prison if they want to sneak into our country. They need to be on the chain gang. They need to be cutting the grass alongside of the highways. They need to be picking up trash. Any type of construction, any type of jobs that our highways and roads need to be done, or whatever the case may be, I think we could definitely use the labor of those people who want to, leech off the American people and sneak into our country. I think it should be a mandatory minimum sentence of 10 years, and they should be on chain gangs. And like I said, they should be cutting grass or doing whatever, control fires out in California or whatever the case may be. But that's all I wanted to say. Thank you all for letting me speak.
Thank you. All right, so Judge, it's two people requests, Live JD and Crystal. So it's been 3 hours, but you didn't come on until probably like 15, 20 minutes in, like 20 minutes in. So it would be technically 3 hours, probably at the 30-minute mark. So it'd be 3 hours and 30 minutes. Do you want me to? Well, now I only see Crystal request. So should I bring up the new speaker, or do you want to close it out? Judge, you unmute yourself.
All right. I was just being silent here. I've had a lifetime I've devoted to this. So, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, what is it? Freedom is not cheap. So go ahead, let it go on. I've got some formal remarks to make, which
Okay, because
won't be off
I'm
the top of my
yeah,
head.
because it's I can't be up here but so long. So
I know you can't. No.
all right, Crystal. I don't know who this Apollonia person is. Go ahead, Crystal.
Hey, how you doing? Hey, Dana. Hey, Judge Joe Brown. Hey,
How
cousin
you
Tasha and
doing?
cousin Davita. How y'all doing? I just want to put in your chat in the chat. I'm gonna put a few links in. I'm gonna add HR 4231. I want to know what are people doing about that, because the government right now has legislation to not pay anybody for anything dealing with the word reparation at all. It's in legislation. I also want to say that the government also are allowing the immigrants to come through, and they are giving the immigrants money through the Snyder Act. That's the Act for the American Indians. And speaking of reparations, they had the 1968 Indian Bill of Rights and the 1968 Indian Housing Project. And up until 1989, only Negro people lived in the said HUD housing, which is Section 3 or Section 8 or Section 10 and small numbers, right? It goes up to, I think, 200 sections in HUD. And WIC wages and also SNAP benefits were giving to said Negro citizens up until only those citizens until 1989. And all of that is funneled through the Bureau of Indian Affairs. I always like to come and make the Negro aware that the government say they gave out stuff to said peoples. Now they changed the lingo from being Black/African American to American Indian from Negro with HR 4238. So I just wanted to bring some government stuff that the government put on paper to the space. Thank you for letting me speak.
I appreciate that. And I love the information. If people have information like that, yes, put it in the chat so people could read it, and retweet it, repost it. So I really appreciate that. Facts, 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 facts. All right, it's another person. This is the last person, Apollonia. I don't know who you are exactly. Did you want to say something, Apollonia?
Thank you. I'm sorry. I turned on my back. I was doing something. I've been listening to the several spaces, but this is the first time I hear you guys. Dana, you made me laugh today. I don't know why. When you guys got confused, I don't know. Sometimes you need to just laugh, and that I hadn't done that in quite a while. I'm Mexican born, legal alien since my father came working to this country as a migrant worker, first time 1949. And this narrative of whether it's legal or illegal, even within Black communities, white communities, Mexican communities, they're getting it wrong. It's illegal. There is no other term, nothing at all. And there will never be another term. These liberal Democrats have twisted our language so bad that we don't even know if we're coming or going. They start with equity, equality at schools, and the last thing they ever give you is that to your children. They just grab one demographic and replace us with another one with a different shade. And I don't get involved politically. Most of the people in this space have never done this before, but this is not normal. This is, I think, a fork in the road that you're going to have to make a choice. And I'm joining. I don't give a crap who. I don't care what I have to do. This is not about one person, one race. This is about our history. Whatever it may be, is going to be gone. We're looking at the replacements coming in. Reparations, I don't know nothing about that. I never put that. I didn't think it was even a thing. Let me tell you, it only took me 3 days to say, why the fuck not? What the hell have we been allowed to be and to become? And at my age, I don't care, I'm not concerned, but it's our kids. It's our kids that we're leaving this nothingness to. So I'm gonna keep listening, keep getting educated, I'm speaking out of term with my own culture. Like, that's how crazy. If I even, people knew and that I feel like this, I'm gonna be a sellout. I'm gonna be a white wannabe. I'm no longer Mexican. Well, I haven't been Mexican since my parents had to come to find food. That's not my freaking fault. So I don't own any royalty to Mexico because it never owned any royalty to my ancestors. It's a slave country. It's a socialist country. and now full of drugs that are coming here. So you run from shit and then it finds you. It is hurtful and painful to hear these politicians or people that have a voice try to mix us in the same bucket of crap. And I myself don't appreciate that because I like America. I like Black American. I like to see Asian Americans. I like the fucking flag. And I'm not going to give it up. I'm not going to give up my children's right to make choices as they get older. So that's what I'm about. I'm very transparent. So thank you for having these spaces and welcoming me, letting me open my mouth. I enjoyed this one. Is the best. Is the interaction is lovely. I love it. Just wanted to tell you that. Thank you. I land there.
Thank you so much. And you're going to be the last speaker, and I'm glad you are the last speaker. Exactly.
Well said. All right.
And there's one more thing, Josh, before you close this out. You know, it was interesting because, you know, what Apollonia was saying, going against, that she would be considered going against, you know, her people, her culture. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it is, that's how a lot of other people feel. And, I kind of want to highlight that. You made some very valid points. So I really appreciate you coming on this space, and I hope to see you back on here. And me personally, I want to say before I let you close it out, Judge, let me just say a couple of things. I respect all the speakers that came up here. I appreciate all you guys and everybody listening. Please repost this space. Also YouTube, thank you guys so much in YouTube. And I want to acknowledge 1867 Harriet T. Dana isn't a trained journalist. She doesn't care for other women. Maybe she's been drinking today. No, bitch, I have not. That's number one. I don't drink. I'm not an alcoholic. I like everybody. I respect people. I just don't have patience for adults. I only have patience for children. And I never said I was a journalist. So get out your feelings. 186 Harriet. And I'm not going to block your bitch ass on YouTube, but it is what it is. But I appreciate everybody on YouTube in the comment section listening. Love you guys. And I love Twitter Space. And go and support and vote. Ashley, Tupac, honey, you are late. The judge is about to do his closing remarks. If you got time to come on my panel on Sunday, do so. One more thing. I was told I need more white people to come on my panels on my YouTube channel, which is like affirmative action. If I go and search, white people, would you like to be on my panel? That is affirmative action. However, I don't intentionally don't want white people want. I just don't know too many, right? So this is an invitation for anybody who's white, or let me just say this, anybody who's non-black that want to be on my Sunday panel on YouTube, right? Follow me and DM and send me a message in my message box here on X, or you can send me an email, danawitthedata@gmail.com. I'm looking for non-black and white people. So I'm looking for non-black people to join my YouTube show on Sundays. Send me a message. Appreciate it. Go ahead, Judge.
Okay, the following points I'm going to make are from political science and law, and they suggest operative theories that influence the things we've been talking about. One, the world functions as a ruthless landscape, an absolutely ruthless and uncaring landscape for humanity and everything else that lives on it. It does not give a damn for fairness nor principle. The operative consideration has been and remains power and fitness to exploit the contemporary environment. Social organisms like us require social order to function. When this social order concerns large number of human organisms, the cultural device is called by us government. You cannot exist as a human being without this social order. We cannot function in this big, wide, ruthless, harsh world without it. Humanity has introduced philosophical considerations that we deem ethics, fairness, justice, equity, all these things. Now, as part of that process of social order, we allow things called civil lawsuits, civil actions. When somebody has been done wrong, they are encouraged to go into court and file civil actions to get restitution or damages, reparations, if you want to use that term, for having been done wrong. These things are theoretically and in law and in political science considered bribes, outright bribes to get and keep public peace. The aim is to keep people from going and doing vendetta. In other words, I'm pissed off at this dude, so I'll go kill him. You want to keep public peace, dignity, and order. So you say, well, if this amount of shekels crosses your hand, will you promise not to do this? Now, when the people in question don't need to be bribed to not take revenge, there is small need to even consider bribing them, or in other words, giving them damages or restitution or reparations for wrong. The system functions without substantial sensitivity to the likelihood of potential retaliation from this kind as to being something that needs compensation. Now, let's consider some things too that haven't been mentioned. We've talked about how the Jews have the money and the influence. There's another thing. They set up Israel within the last 75 years. Israel has the Mossad. Israel has a constitutional policy of assassination. Some people who make decisions are aware of this. Under the constitutional form of government that exists in Israel, they can sick the Mossad on somebody and assassinate them, and they have a free, safe haven where they can come back to, and can't anybody touch them because our CIA, etc., relies upon Mossad to get a lot of things done in the Middle East. So some people, again, who make the decisions are aware of this, and this gives the beneficiaries a certain amount of useful leverage on them, so they get stuff that other people might not get. Now, a couple of other points. The analysis I routinely had done, the psychological and psychiatric analysis on just about everybody I sentenced, revealed certain things. One, to a great extent, drug usage is not about getting high, it's about trying to get high. For the most part, in the overwhelming percentage of cases, it is a method of socially accepted suicide. Just like a lot of times, some of the violence that goes on in our community is socially acceptable suicide because it's a version of suicide by cop that translates into suicide by neighbor. So we have to consider that. Now, if you don't believe or don't accept that this thing called government is inescapable, if you cannot deal with politics because you say it's something that you don't want to be bothered with, I strongly suggest that you pay a visit to your local zoo. Or if you don't have one in your city, the next time you get to a big city that's got one, go to the primate house and watch the baboons and the chimpanzees. The chimps are very similar to humans in their behavioral patterns in certain circumstances, and you will see raw, unadulterated politics. You'll see the alpha males and females, and you'll see everything all the way down to the omegas, where they're fighting for dominance, influence, or being able to control things. And it is innate in the primate animal. It's innate in the human primate. And we've carried it to a very complex degree. And it controls our social organization. And without that social organization, we cannot exist. If that totally broke down and it disappeared, you have to understand that before we got this social organization, there weren't that many people on the world. And right now, this planet would not support anywhere near the number of people that it does by many orders of magnitude if it were not for our social organizations that have evolved into what we call governments. So we need to understand that this is something that's inescapable. It is also inescapable that if you have no consequences that you vest for not getting something to keep you peaceful, there's no reason to give it to you because that's the way things work. The planet does not give a damn about you. And I'm sure most of the people listening in have had fish, shellfish, poultry, beef, pork, something that not too long ago was alive and going about his business on planet. You think it was fair to the damn cow that we ate a hamburger the other day and ate his ass up? No, it's not. Do you think it was fair to the chicken who got served up through KFC or Chick-fil-A? No, it was not. Or Popeye's chicken sandwich that we had big damn fools over and wait in line in 100-degree heat for 2 hours to get. No, it's not fair. So why in the hell do we insist on thinking that we are entitled to something because something wrong got done to us? The world doesn't work that way. Every single people on this planet has been a source of slaves at some point in this planet's history, recent history. So if we want reparations, if we want restitution for a perceived wrong, the only way to get it is to establish some sort of consequence to not providing the means of inducing us to keep the public peace. That's what reparations, restitution, civil damages is all about. Now, we can be nice about it and at least vest the minor consequences of negative voting patterns, but we don't even have the sense and gumption to do that. So how in the hell can we talk about restitution when it simply translates into reparations when we're begging for it? You do not beg for shit in this world and get a damn thing. You just reveal your vulnerability. You demand and you vest consequences for your demands not being met. Now, it may not be that you emerge victorious from any contest that you set up, but you at least have to be capable of making the situation such that you can deliver consequences that are uncomfortable, inconvenient, or painful for the object. And we don't do that. Now, we're either going to need to do that or we're not going to get this. And I say this in light of the fact that this is the third time in my life where I can recall that reparations became a big issue. I can see where it could have gone, but I can see the topic that we had today has been so applicable. Dana, I'm getting back to the point, which is the N word. The N word was a grievous insult delivered to us for a long time. it was something evocative of death, pain, and extreme violence. It was a fighting word. Now we have embraced it with some idea that we are saying it to ourselves because it makes it all right. That new in thing that we have gotten into does not obviate nor delete the fact that our subconscious knows exactly what the word means. We apply it to ourselves. And from my perspective of having watched it develop over the last half century of being a full grown person eligible to buy whiskey and vote, I can see how it has impacted us, and I can see the deleterious consequences of us thinking of ourselves in that fashion, where we don't even do it in a joking way. We do it because it has become internalized. We will get nothing. The ends will never get reparations as long as too many of them think of themselves as ends. Now, you want reparations? Start thinking of yourself some other way. And maybe when you start thinking of yourself other ways, your eyes will be open as to the avenues where you can get the redress you think you deserve. And if you deserve it, then you only get it if you earn it. So you have two steps, not just getting it because you deserve it, but you deserve it and you earn it. And if we want anything, you have to get those two things: earning what you deserve. And earning was not something that happened to your ancestors. It was not something that you passively endured. So I will leave us with that message. Those are some
I just want to do a
theoretical
quick.
points.
I just want to do a quick not emergency, a quick breaking news that the House rejected a bill that would have provided 17.6 billion in Israel aid. So the House rejected that BS border bill.
That's
So,
Republican.
yes, because the House is a Republican majority. It passed the Senate apparently, but it did not pass the House, and the Senate is Democrat majority. So, all right.
And yeah, they want them some new ends. Remember
Yeah,
Richard Pryor's
exactly.
joke album?
The new, yeah,
They
the
said
new,
they trying to get some new ends, and when you practice saying it enough so that you get your ass kicked, then you know you have made it.
right. So the new niggers have arrived. Niggas. What I say, niggers? Oops.
Yeah, you did.
Niggas. I said the ER one. My bad. Now that's kind of racist. But the new niggas have arrived, and 50 Cent needs to sit his ass all the way down. And yeah, and happy birthday, Bob Marley. Again, thank you everybody that came up to speak, all the listeners, everybody that put their links and stuff in the message chat below. Go to Judge Joe Brown website, jjbbbq.com, and purchase you barbecue sauce. And you can get the barbecue sauce on Amazon. Just type in Judge Joe Brown barbecue sauce. It's delicious. And I have to start promoting that more when we do these spaces. We got to take like a 1 minute commercial breaks and stuff. So that's very important. Every Tuesday, 5 p.m. I may push it to 6 because people are usually off work or leaving work. Sorry, Tupac. Next time, because we already been up here 3 hours and 42 minutes. But I will be on YouTube tomorrow, The Real Dana. And like I said, if you are non-black, if you are a person of color, non-black, or a white person, and you want to come on my Sunday show on YouTube, message me in the DM here on Twitter. Apparently, I need to practice affirmative action by not hiring, but including white people on my platform.
May I make one more remark here? Since it's come up so much in the past and today. Just because somebody isn't of a certain ethnic group does not mean that they may not have made profound observations about that ethnic group that maybe the ethnic group would prosper by hearing.
Oh, yeah.
See, that's why we have the CIA, National Defense Council, NSA, and a military intelligence. You analyze your adversary so you can understand what you have to do to not be defeated by them or to prevail in a contest with them.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So
yeah.
listen.
Yeah. So
Truth
just like what
Ashley
no
face, but truth itself.
Just like what Ashley Ramos, who is running for office, majority of her District 2 are black. But so what? You stop voting color and vote policy. Stop voting Stop. You can't hear me now. Stop voting color. He can't hear me. Stop voting color and vote policy. Yeah. His connection was going in and out. All right, guys. Thank you.
I hear you.
Oh, you hear me now? Okay.
Oh, I mean, I was hearing you when you said it.
Okay. No, because you were talking while I was talking, so it probably was a delay.
Yeah.
So I was saying, vote policy, not color.
Well,
all right. Go ahead.
If we were over talking, what I said was listen to anybody who's got anything to say. That's what wise men do.
Right.
The principle is, I'll repeat it in case you didn't hear me. Truth has no face, but truth itself. It doesn't have color. It doesn't have ethnicity.
And I was going to say that Ashley, she just joined your club, Judge Joe Brown, with being censored with these algorithms and on social media, because Twitter is always constantly dropping her down from speaker to listener when she starts talking about policy. So they try to shadow ban or mess with you a little bit, even your Wi-Fi at home. So
yeah, and they drop. I don't post anything on Facebook. I'm just a member, so I can get messages through that, or people refer me to it to look at something.
Yeah.
I've got maximum number of friends, and they just announced that they were dropping me for offenses. Like, what the hell? I didn't post any damn thing.
Yeah.
So what the hell am I being dropped for? Oh,
right.
I get it. The election season's coming up and you don't want me to say anything. Then they came back when I appealed, said, I'm not who I am. So I had my appeal rejected, and that's it. My account's wiped. All maximum number of friends. Okay, great. Sleazy bastards. Wiping out free speech. We need to look. I encourage anybody to take advantage of what Elon Musk is saying. If you want to go file an action and attack these filthy ass fascist bastards for their censorship, please do so, because you got a damn good case.
Also, this just in as well. Elon Musk is financially funding all lawsuits against Disney.
Yay, kill the mouse. Put his ass in a trap, set out some trees, and let him get smashed.
Yeah.
And by the way, have you seen that on Twitter where they got this infrared video of a rat taking a pencil and popping the trap so he can get the cheese?
So to be more specific, Musk funds Gina Carano lawsuit versus Disney over Mandalorian firing.
Mandalorian.